myself again. Give me something for the pain. Always trying to pretend that I'm not living just a lie. Broken heart and shattered lives. Let me go for one day. Let me lose myself. Oh, I knew how this would end. Oh, I knew that it would die, that we would come to this, that we would say goodbye. Someone help me see it. Someone help me free this feeling. Someone help me see it. Someone help me free this feeling. Don't wanna think about the past. I'm crying out behind a mask. So give me something for the pain. I wanna lose myself again. Please get out of my mind. Just get out of my sight. Let me go for one day. Let me lose myself. Oh, I knew how this would end. Oh, I knew that it would die, that we would come to this,
Yeah, I can hear you.
that we would say goodbye. Someone help me see it. Someone help me free this feeling. Someone help me free this feeling. Someone help me see it. Someone help me free this feeling. Someone help me see it. Someone help me free this feeling.
Okay. Hey. Yeah, right. So what we should probably
I've been thinking about you. Oh yeah. Oh, there ain't no one else that does the things that you do to me. That's why I get nervous. I try to be cool, but you see me the right way. Oh, and I see you too. I don't wanna push you farther away, no, I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, I don't wanna push you farther away, no, I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, are you down for love? Are you up for someone to be together, be together? Babe, I want your love. I'll be the one you trust. You're all that matters, all that matters. I got feelings about you. Oh yeah. Butterflies every time I'm with you. Oh yeah. I don't wanna push you farther away, no, I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, I don't wanna push you farther away, no, I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, are you down for love? Are you up for someone to be together, be together?
You and me in the sun. Know that I still be here when the day is done. So come a little bit closer, and I'll tell you what I feel inside. You know I'm gonna wait on you. I'm gonna wait on you. You know I'm gonna wait on you. Yes, I'm gonna wait on you. No one's gonna love you like I do. So glad that I found you. You're the missing piece, the last piece of the puzzle. I'm finally at ease. So when times are rough and the promises we made just seem so hollow and weak, and we're about to break, we have to remind ourselves, 'cause we know how we feel inside. You know I'm gonna wait on you. Ain't overtime.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Good morning. It is Thursday, August 12th. I am independent journalist Georgia Ford on with Benjamin Dixon this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. In the last week, there have been 94,000 new COVID cases among children in just the last week. We've seen hospitals across the country report that they are running out of ICU beds. And this is proving that we're on the other spectrum of the pandemic. If you remember, at the beginning of the pandemic, the most vulnerable population was senior citizens, the elders of our community. And they were among the first to get vaccinated. But now, because there are no vaccinations available for children under 12, we're seeing our children become our most vulnerable population. Take a listen at what President Biden had to say about this growing issue.
I understand that there are millions of people who decided, adults who decided not to get vaccinated. And I understand that to badger those folks is not likely to get them to move and get vaccinated. But I also understand that the reason children are becoming infected is because in most cases they live in low vaccination rate states and communities, and they're getting it from unvaccinated adults. That's what's happening. And so my plea is that for those who are not vaccinated, think about it. God willing, the FDA is going to be coming out in a reasonable time frame to say this vaccine is totally safe. We've seen millions of doses around the world, 1 billion doses already. And we know how it's transmitted. And one of the things that I find a little disingenuous, when I suggest that people in zones where there is a high risk wear the mask like you all are doing, I'm told that government should get out of the way.
You know, and I think we can pause there, Ben, to that point about the masks and knowing that masks have been scientifically proven to help stop the spread. And the president is acknowledging the fact that people don't want to wear it. But, yesterday, really what I want to ask you, Ben, yesterday you made a post where you simply said, shut it down.
Yeah.
What is it going to take? What is it going to take? Because 94,000 children diagnosed with COVID. We're running out of ICU beds in pediatric units in hospitals across the country. How many more children have to be affected by this issue before President Biden addresses the nation and simply just shuts it down?
That's right. President Biden is doing his due diligence almost to a fault, but I understand it. I understand the due diligence that's necessary to be kind to people who are making this decision. I don't think people who are deciding to not get the vaccine are making that decision lightly. But y'all are dead wrong. I do respect the fact that Joe Biden is trying to tread carefully to be respectful to those people because they're human beings and they still deserve compassion and empathy. But if we bring up the map of the new infections since July versus what's happening right now in August, I think we are out of time, Georgia, for patience with people who are creating more COVID-19 patients in our children.
Yeah, when you take a look even at the world map and you see in comparison to, so this is our country.
Dr. Fauci, do you agree with Randy Weingarten, the head of the largest
how
teachers union in
high
the
the rates are here in our country? But even if you compare that internationally, I mean, there's just no comparison to the number of cases we have here in comparison to other countries who are making these mandates, who do not have a portion of the population who is feeling like this is a form of oppression. The rest of the world understands, in order to get this thing under control, in order to get back to some type of normalcy, we have to get vaccinated and we have to wear the mask. And you can clearly see here that the numbers are showing too many people here don't want to get vaccinated. Too many people here feel like wearing a mask is a political statement.
That's exactly right. And they are committed to their politics even unto death. That's the part that is, there's two sides of this. There are those, and maybe if we take our time to parse this anti-vax / anti-mask movements, there are two different movements. There are the movements of those people who are just they're just not into vaccines, and they've been reading on YouTube and they've been Googling on websites, and fine. But people are dying. 1,000 people died yesterday. Then there's the other side of it. There's the political action that's being taken by white supremacists, fascists, Donald Trump supporters, Republicans, Rand Paul. They're actively sabotaging our recovery from this pandemic. And so there are two different groups that are at play here, but all of them combine to the 94,000 cases in children that we see spreading across this country.
And I thought it was interesting. The president mentioned how, it's adults who are spreading it. But I also think that there's a number of factors that play here. You have corporations who are now requiring employees to return to the workplace. That's causing environments like super spread environments. And it's also then positioning parents who were able to try and juggle working from home and distance learning. Now it's requiring parents to find somewhere to send their kids. And oftentimes you sending your kids, if they're young, preschool, around groups of other children, you don't know whether or not the teachers there have been vaccinated. And then that creates a super spreader environment for the children. We've seen concerts and music festivals and church services with thousands of people in the congregation not wearing a mask. So I don't think, it's just adults. I also think it's the fact that the politicians refuse to mandate masks. They refuse to shut it down when the numbers are clearly showing that there is a dire need to do something, because there's absolutely no reason why 94,000 children deserve to be diagnosed with COVID and potentially hospitalized.
Yeah. And sadly, there's a possibility, even see, people like to play the percentages game, right? They're like, oh, it's only 1% fatal. And I think that number is higher, but that's what they like to say online. Do you want your child to be in that 1% of this 94,000? If we're really cavalier with the percentage of survival rate, are you comfortable with your so then let's get vaccinated. We cannot continue to coddle the conspiracy theorists in our community. We cannot continue to coddle those who are anti-science. We cannot continue to coddle those who are committed to their politics, even unto death. We have to confront them head on. And part of it is exactly what you said, Georgia. Politicians are afraid of being unpopular. Well, I would rather be unpopular than to have 94,000 kids infected with COVID-19. And secondly, Joe Biden also owns some culpability here. We got to call a thing a thing. He's also pushing kids back into the schools. He said last week that he wants schools fully opened, right? Those that on the best of days, when the sun is shining and the wind is blowing just right and there's not a cloud in the sky, kids come home from school with all kinds of viruses because it is a living incubator, a petri dish of diseases and colds and viruses. We're in a pandemic and we're sending our kids back to school. That is as much responsible for this as the parents who haven't gotten vaccinated.
You know, in my daughter's school, they actually sent out a note where they were going to be taking responses from parents, polling whether or not parents are actually on board with it. However, I made the decision 2 years ago, so before the pandemic, to put my daughter in a charter school so that she wouldn't be caught up in, you know, this mass decision making that they do in the public school system that oftentimes doesn't factor in our circumstances, right? Because it's just too large of a system. Whereas with the charter schools, you can actually talk to the principal and you have more, your concerns and your questions have more weight just because the system is not as big. So we'll see how that goes. I've also seen a few states start to mandate that teachers will be required to show proof of their vaccination. So it seems like we're starting to move in that direction. But I mean, when you're looking at the numbers of 94,000 kids getting COVID in 1 week, come on, you can't really think that sending our kids back to school is the best decision, not only for our children, but for our country. And that brings me to a school board meeting where you had doctors who were sharing the facts of wearing the mask, sharing the facts of the vaccine, sharing the facts about the pandemic. And I want you guys to see, this is very disturbing. I want you to see, and this happened in Tennessee, how parents in Tennessee treated doctors who came in and said that masks should absolutely be worn and that vaccines do help fight off COVID. Is this in the same country where 94,000 children were just diagnosed with COVID?
Did you see the sign that said, "My child, my choice"? My child, my choice. You're choosing your child to get COVID-19. We need to take children from, I'm sorry. At this juncture, if you are willingly putting your child at risk, you are not qualified to be a parent talking about my child, my choice. And you're creating, it's one thing to be an essential worker and to be forced into a situation where you do not have a choice. There are so many Americans, because of this capitalistic system, that never had the choice to homeschool, never had the choice to do anything but keep slaving in this system to make sure that people like Jeff Bezos hit their quarterly profit margin, right? So that has been a reality. But these people got money. They got time. They got resources. They could be protecting their children, but they're using their children as political props, and they are unqualified parents.
You know, unfortunately, what happened inside of the school board meeting was just surface level. If we can run this clip back, and I want you guys to hear how the doctors were treated. They were followed. You can see this one doctor being followed to his vehicle, threatened. Take a look. We're going to start this from the top and turn up the volume so you guys can take a listen.
And everybody's taking notes, buddy. Keep that little smug.
I want to see your face so I know. Put it back on.
Put that mask back on.
Put your mask on.
Poor kids stuck in that bacteria. How you like that? We know who you are. We know who you are. No more masks.
calm. Keep it calm.
No more masks.
We're on these guys' side. They're on our side.
No, they're not. They're not on our side.
The police are on our side. The police are on our side. Let's calm down.
Yes.
Calm down. We know who you are. We know who you are. You can leave freely, but we will find you, and we know who you are.
You will never be allowed in public again. You will never be allowed.
I know who you are. I know who you are. I know who you are. Let him out. Let's let him out.
Watch out. You better watch out.
Keep it.
You better watch out.
Keep it calm. Everybody back up. Please. Everybody back up. We believe in peace, but we know who you are. You know who you are. Fuck you.
Ben, I'm not sure if that was your first time seeing this, but what are your initial thoughts?
White folks done lost their mind. That's my initial response. But my more, pragmatic response is that this is in Tennessee, Williamson County, and I'm trying to figure out if this is the same county as the church that is headed up by Greg Locke, who we cover on a regular basis, who is also in Tennessee. And every Sunday at these people's churches, whether they are at Greg Locke's church or another church, they are constantly being fed the type of rhetoric that would drive them into this type of frenzy, right? They are threatening people over masks. So when I say they've lost their minds, I really don't mean to be ableist as much to say they have lost all sense of reason. And they are acting like brutish beasts. And here we are. They're sacrificing their children on the altar of their bigotry.
I also want to know why the officers didn't make any arrests. I mean, when you heard the two men saying, "We will find you."
That's right. That's a threat.
That is a threat.
That is a threat.
That is a threat. And go ahead.
I was going to say it's a threat, but our guy right there in the pink shirt, he said, be calm because they're on our side. The cops are on our side. The cop probably believes the same excuse me, Georgia, I'm so sorry. They believe the same doggone thing that these guys believe. So those cops are there to protect them, not the scientists. And so when I do pull up in Tennessee, I'm gonna have to contact the NFAC to make sure we have security everywhere we go, because we cannot depend on police to protect us. Obviously.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we always have to do this. If this was a crowd full of Black individuals who were expressing their thoughts and opinions aggressively.
Yeah.
Now, not only when they ran up on the car and said, "We will find you," but then there's a second moment where you see the vehicle get stopped in the crowd when he starts to drive up. Somebody would have been going to jail if this was a group of Black people.
That's right. Or did. Most certainly we cannot gather like this and sing "We Shall Overcome" without the police pointing towards us, turning their faces towards us in opposition to us, to protect the system from us. So if this had been a room, first of all, it ain't gonna be a room of Black people. I know we got a lot of conspiracy theorists in our community, and we got to address that later on today. But if you look at this video, we ain't packing. Most of us Black folks ain't gonna be packing up in no room with a whole bunch of folks with no mask on like this. So there is a lot of overlap in terms of politics, conspiracy theory, bigotry, and race in this video right here.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and to look at this entire group and not identify a single Black person, I think, you're seeing who is at the forefront of keeping this pandemic going. You're seeing who is at the forefront of continuing to spread misinformation. The folks here who are acting aggressively, It's frustrating because all I can juxtapose this with is 94,000 children diagnosed with COVID. The fact that ICU beds are running out in hospitals across the country. And so, yes, we can blame whoever we want to blame, but I can guarantee you something. The group of individuals in these clips are partially responsible.
Yeah. Yes, Georgia, they are. We are at a very dangerous time. And I want to shift to something that you always ask us to do, something that Brother Mac always asks us to do, James, Rebecca, all of us are constant, and even our audience. How do we change this? How do we take action? We take action by making sure you protect your family. your community, your neighbors, those that you can. Because we are in a time, in a very, very serious time in history, where when our descendants, if we are so lucky to not have destroyed the planet through climate change or destroyed our species through this pandemic, our descendants are going to look back at this time in history and wonder how it is that we survived this stupidity. And those of us who survive, it will be because we yielded to science and reason and not this bigotry and madness.
Absolutely. I was recently extremely stressed out. Those of you who know me know I have a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 13-year-old. And my younger two have never been in daycare. But it was getting to the point where my husband and I were considering maybe we should put them in daycare. He is self-employed. I'm self-employed. We both work a lot. And it just gets to be a bit much trying to juggle it all while also being in a pandemic. And so we were considering putting them in daycare. And then it's just like, as much relief as that would provide for us in terms of our schedules and being able to just hyper focus on our work, give us a break, maybe allow us to get a lunch date in.
Yeah.
We started to
it would be nice, right?
Yeah, that would be lovely. It'd be great. A breakfast date, something. But we started to think about putting our 2- and 3-year-old who cannot get vaccinated in a small room full of a dozen or more other children and adults who we can't control whether or not they wear masks. We can't force them to get vaccinated. I don't even think it's legal for us to ask them to show us that they have been vaccinated. And so, we started thinking about that, and it's just like, as much as we feel like we need the relief, it's something that we're just going to have to delay and postpone. And I also want to encourage other people, because I know we're not the only family out here who's ready to get back to normal, who feels like they need a break. So we started thinking about it differently. We started thinking about taking that same amount of money, because you guys know that daycare is not cheap.
Come on, somebody.
We're like, well, maybe if we take that same amount of money that we are going to allocate to daycare to finding a nanny, one individual who we trust and know that has been vaccinated, to come into our home, so that we lessen the amount of exposure. And so I want to just encourage people. I know that it's challenging to navigate, but be hopeful and be creative in the solutions that you're trying to find for your family. And don't give up in seeking them, because just that small pivot. And in my mind, I would have thought I could never afford a nanny. But there's quite a few people out here who are offering those services, especially in light of the mass furloughs and people really not wanting to be in the workplace. And so when you rethink about it that way, if I could get some care for my children and only expose them to one person versus exposing them to 20 or 30, to me, that feels like a much safer approach. And obviously nothing's fail proof, but at least you're doing what you can to mitigate the exposure.
I love that. I love that solution. And I'm actually later on today, you all spoke last week with the sister, and forgive me, I have her name, but the sister who has the homeschooling program that you all interviewed. I'm going to be speaking with her today, because we have to, as Black people, we have to create our own solutions. I think it is very clear that this country will abandon us. They will watch our children die and then say, oh, well, yeah, they were supposed to wear masks, but they took their mask off. Sorry, that's what the rule said. When they created the conditions in the first place, knowing full well that children are not going to wear masks in school. So I love your solution, Georgia, and I'm actually going to get with you offline and let's talk about that, because I need to do the same thing. Because what we're going to try to do here in our family, we're going to try to create a pod, basically a homeschooling pod, where we have one other family that we trust, and that we trust them enough that we will go to their house and that we will eat dinner with them. Because if our children are sharing air with their children, then we're sharing air with their parents. And we need to take that kind of approach to trust. And also like your solution of bringing someone into our home that we also know that we could trust because they've been vaccinated. And then we can build pods and small units of very small pockets of trust where we can survive and get through the rest of this pandemic, because the government is not going to take care of us.
And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take an innovative approach. It's going to take us, creating our own standards and setting our own rules, despite the fact that the president even is encouraging us to send our children back to school, corporations mandating that we return to the workplace. I've had so many people who want to have in-person meetings. And, we learned one thing in the pandemic. It's that technology can really help us stay connected. And so I think that it's time, if you've been out and you got to go out to eat and, maybe go to a concert, do a couple of things that you missed, hold on to those memories. But maybe it's time to start scaling back, because, if we're not a part of the solution, we're a part of the problem.
That's right.
And so when this is all said and done, 94,000 children in 1 week. And if you've been out and about and you've been in space with children, you weren't wearing a mask, they weren't wearing a mask, you are a part of the problem. You are partially responsible, whether you're vaccinated or you're not. The reality of it is, if you're not staying at home, if you're not doing what you can to stop the spread, then you are a part of the problem. And that's the part that a lot of people don't want to take responsibility for, the fact that, I'm vaccinated, so I don't need to wear my mask, but you could be spreading the virus, even if you're not going to be infected by it and have these symptoms. We've heard from scientists who say, even if you're vaccinated, you should be wearing your mask, because you could potentially spread the virus to other people who are not vaccinated, including children.
Exactly, Georgia. And here's the thing. Well, shout out to On and On It Goes, aka the Shade Dragon, in our YouTube chat, for giving me the name of what this is actually called. What I was talking about, it's called double bubbling. And throw that in your Google search, everybody, and it shows you exactly what we're talking about in terms of making a bubble out of your household and another household that you trust. And ideally that household has the same kind of demographics and that you like, children that need to be educated. Double bubble with people that you trust, that have the same working conditions that you have, so that you can assist each other, because we're going to be in this for a little bit longer because of all the stupidity that's happening around us.
Yeah, and I would take that a step further for those of you who are parents who are listening. If you guys have other ideas, solutions, things you're considering, please share them, because, the approach my family's taking is different clearly than how Ben and his family's thinking of it. And I also think that there is something to be said just about brainstorming, just throwing ideas out there and just saying, what are some of the approaches that we can take to being more reserved about where we go, pretty much forcing ourselves to just go back into a lockdown, even though it's not being mandated. What are some of the approaches that we can take so that it's not as painful, it's not as hard of a transition? And I think creating these isolated communities, Ben, is going to be extremely beneficial for people to not feel so isolated. I
can't go back. I can't go back.
Yes.
Total isolation.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
It was so hard. We used a lot of apps. So we use Instacart, DoorDash, because then again, here you have one person who is coming to your home, and we would just have them leave the stuff outside versus us going into the grocery store where we're exposed to, 50, 100 people. So there's so many different things. If you guys have certain things that worked well for you, leave that in the chat. If there's certain things that you're thinking about doing, share that with us. We'd love to hear it.
I love this from Struth the Dragon in the chat room says, double bubble, toil and trouble, COVID spread and right wing muddled. We are some creative people, but that is the absolute truth. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, your household, create a bubble, then find a family that has the same philosophy as you. Because here's the thing now, you got to keep in mind, let's be real. You got to know where the dad goes. You got to trust people enough to know where the mama goes and get her hair. Like you got to really have a relationship with the people that you're going to create a bubble with, because they are going to shut it down again, because they're not going to have a choice. They are going to shut schools down again, because when kids, and I say this very carefully because it could be any of our kids, and I'm being mindful of this. I do not wish this on anybody, not even Greg Locke. I hope and I pray that every single child can make it out of this phase of COVID-19. But once they start seeing children die in the kind of numbers that they expect them to be dying from, they are going to shut schools down. And so we're going to have to come up with other solutions very quickly. And we need to start brainstorming, like you said, Georgia.
Absolutely. Well, we are on the clock, so I am signing off now, but stick around for more on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Good morning. Again to the Benjamin Dixon Show. To Georgia for it. Georgia for all you do. Stay tuned. We got too consumed, but everybody is telling me to run away from you. Come a little bit closer. Yeah. Come a little bit closer. Yeah. You're a little bit crazy. Good morning. Coffee and tea, whatever got to do with it. Morning started. About to go down, y'all. Good morning. Closer. Yeah. Come a little bit closer. Yeah. So all my ladies who got a brother, it's probably this chord. Right. Put your finger right in his face and tell the man bye-bye. I'm too fly. But then give me 1 second. I need to hook up my Ethernet cord. Bye-bye. You're a little bit selfish. You get mad every time you lose. You can't take me with you. I'm scared you're gonna blow your fuse. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, I can really start over. Good morning, y'all. Y'all stay tuned real quick. I'm gonna disappear off screen like a magic trick. I'm gonna go poof and disappear. You're just wasting then I'm gonna walk right back. Okay. Because you're scared and lonely. Finally got some closure. Yeah, I can finally start over. Yeah. So all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly. I'm too fly. Bye-bye. 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 Here's to the memories. Cheers to who used to be. Your friend said that you left me. I'm glad that's what you believe. All my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly. You're rolling all over my microphone board. Oh, bye-bye, bye-bye. U-G-L-Y, that's how you spell goodbye. Right. You'll never see me cry. U-G-L-Y, that's how you spell it. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Good morning again, y'all. Make sure that you stay tuned. We got more coming up next with the Benjamin Dixon Show. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Grab your coffee, your tea, whatever it is you need. Get the morning started. Ooh, my headphones just disconnected. Take me down
out real quick.
Sometimes they hurt. I stay high when bullets fly. Out of reach, won't be coming down. I can't wait till it's over. I can't wait till it ends. I'm gonna dip on your shoulder, and I don't need to pretend. Yeah, we are alright. We'll spend another night.
All right, y'all.
I wanna forget where I came from, where there's no getting no.
I just broke my freaking headphone cord, man. I'm so upset right now. Ah.
I won't be here alone. No, no.
Right.
Don't know what you got. You don't know until it's gone. You don't know.
That was hilarious.
Oh man, listen, they didn't hear you say that, did they, Dwayne? Dwayne, you're horrible. We're gonna have to say it on air when Rebecca gets here.
Dude, I rolled over the whole cord, and the cord got stuck in the wheel, the bottom part, the little connector piece. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? So here it is. I'm trying to pull the thing out, and I didn't end up pulling out the whole thing. So now it looks like this. So Dwayne, thank you so much. I appreciate this gift, and I'm sorry I broke it. Okay.
Oh wait, are those are the headphones, right? Yeah, man. Listen,
yes.
My son did the same thing to my headphones. He spun around in my chair until the headphones popped, and then Dwayne had to give me another set. So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, non-gender conforming individuals, to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I don't know if I'm choking or laughing or what here. Special thanks to Georgia Fort, as always, starting us off. DJ Exclusive, thank you, man, for keeping us bopping while you were trying to fix your headphone situation over there.
A whole situation.
A whole situation. And we're joined, obviously, by David, our producer, who is a fan of, has this picture of Nina Turner on the screen, and who we are all fans of on our show.
Yes.
David, I want to turn it over to you because right now I'm in Alabama, and I'm not following the news as much as I normally would if I was stationary. So what do we need to be looking at today, David?
Good morning. Good morning. So we'll stay in the same vein of what you and Georgia were discussing. But Dwayne, I'm actually going to go in reverse just because we were in Tennessee. It makes sense to go to Tennessee's current son, Greg Locke.
Yeah.
And so if we roll BPD 5, we'll see the type of content
that's fueling what we saw. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. Let's go there.
We have a big old sign that says, this is a mask-free church. We won't even let you wear a mask on our church campus. We celebrate faith over fear because God's not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind.
You don't have a sound mind, bro.
So I said, okay. I said, we're going to have to go ahead and deal with this right now. Since the media's here, since they're trying to shut us down, they need to know that we are both biblical and constitutional. So I said, we so believe in our First Amendment right to gather that if you show up and you impede on our First Amendment right to worship, we gonna meet you at the door with our Second Amendment right, because we are not closing our church because the government told us to. That's what we got to do if we gonna take this nation back for the glory of God.
Have you ever seen a group of people more committed to victimhood complex than evangelicals who literally have every single thing that they want in America, but they act like they are perpetually at a state of oppression? These people are. Jay, what y'all think about this? I got so much more, but this clown is the reason we saw what we saw in Tennessee. Run the B-roll of Tennessee, what we saw last night at the school board meeting. This is Greg Locke that we're looking at right now. He is a pastor in Tennessee, and the video that we watched of the school board meeting where they were shouting down this one right here. This is in Tennessee, Williamson County. Now, I haven't had a chance because I just saw this video this morning, but someone in in one of the chat rooms, would you find out if Greg Locke's church is in Williamson County, Tennessee? Somebody just do a quick Google search, because if it's in that county or juxtaposed next to that county, then Greg Locke is 100% complicit with what we see in this video.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good point, Ben. I would like to see if that church is in that same area. The sad part about it, going to Tennessee real quick, this is happening in Georgia too. It's happening in a lot of different counties here. And now, of course, once all these cases are starting to come out with kids involved, they're starting to change that tune. Y'all have no choice. Yeah. Talking about thousands of kids. Oh my gosh, I saw the number this morning. I think it's almost 3,000 or 4,000 kids diagnosed with COVID. Georgia. And this is on the second week of school in Georgia alone.
In Georgia alone, yes.
That's ridiculous. Now, this Greg Locke, oh my gosh, the narrative and the rhetoric that this man that they're spitting.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see how this will go, how this is going to be, how the numbers in Tennessee are going to be after all these revolves and everything. Of course, they're not going to say that, but I can guarantee you COVID is in that building. Hallelujah, somebody.
Wait, put Greg Locke back on the screen, because we about to work this thing right here. James, you gave me an idea right now in real time.
Don't do it.
The Holy Spirit is not in Greg Locke's church. All right. There is no anointing in Greg Locke's church. There is no power in the pulpit of Greg Locke. The only thing you got in Greg Locke's church is COVID-19 and bigotry. That's what I see. What else is in Greg Locke's church? Common sense is not in Greg Locke's church.
Greg Locke's church is located in Mount Juliet, which looks like it's just outside Nashville.
And how far is that from Williamson County on the map?
It's not
That I have
far.
to figure out.
It's not far. Williamson County is just south of Nashville.
So that tells me that there's some Greg Locke members out there. How much you want to bet that in that video there are actively Greg Locke members out there? Now, Greg Locke owes me a debate. I got David, did I ever send you those screenshots from our Twitter conversation?
I saw you posted on Twitter. I didn't.
I have the DMs. I have the DMs that I've known Greg Locke at least since 2019. I don't know him as in I'm familiar with him or friendly with him. I just known his bull since 2019, and he owes me a debate. But I guarantee y'all, the reason you saw what you saw in Tennessee was because of members that go to this man church, because you just can't tell me that's not connected. You can't.
Yeah. Man, I wholeheartedly agree, Ben. And I would probably go further to say that his reach probably extends way outside of Tennessee, too.
That's right. That's right. He's got 2 million followers on Facebook. 2 million followers on Facebook.
And that's 2 million people that don't believe in the vaccine or wearing masks.
Exactly.
And that's what these governors are battling.
This is
so if we tie,
Go, David.
Go ahead. So if we tie it into the real world, let's go to number 4, Governor Jim Justice, Republican governor of West Virginia.
From the standpoint of where I stand on that, I'm trying to give a lot of leeway to our local officials. But if this thing continues the way it's going, you'll just have to look for the fact that we will have to adjust, and we probably will end up having to move in this direction.
Now, for context, the direction he's referring to are mandates. And he actually, just before or just after this clip, he held up the map that we put up during the On the Clock segment. That's actually the recount provided online, and we're sharing it with everybody.
Look at that, folks.
This is the
July
map he's
5th.
using.
Jesus.
1 month difference. 1 month difference. That's a lot of people who are going to die, y'all. There ain't no coming back from death. Y'all really want to play this game? And I know I'm preaching to the choir. Obviously, when I say y'all, I'm not talking to anybody on the screen and most likely nobody in my audience. Because I'm pretty sure I've chased away all the anti-vaxxers because I was on this last year. But I laid off of it because I'm like, okay, we're headed out of this. We weathered the storm last year. We weathered a government that failed us. The United States government failed us with the COVID-19 response underneath Donald Trump. There's no question about that. 630,000 people did not have to die, 400,000 of whom died underneath Donald Trump's administration in 1 year. 400,000 people died from COVID-19. We weathered that storm and we got the vaccine. You would think we would be on our way out of it.
You would think.
But it looks like I got to lose a whole lot more followers because we're going to double down on this. We're going to protect our people. We're going to protect our families. We're going to protect our friends. We're going to protect ourselves. And most of all, we sure as hell going to protect our children. What you got next, David?
So this third and final one is Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky, a Democrat in Kentucky, and he's along the similar lines. He's got a pretty good analogy.
Okay, let's take a look at it.
I had to make a tough decision, but it's one supported by our educational community, by every public health entity from the CDC to each and every local health department, and it's supported by the private sector and the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, and that is requiring masking in our schools and in our daycares. Listen, I know it's not fun, but sending unvaccinated children to sit in a full classroom in a poorly ventilated building is like sending them to a chickenpox party. Except instead of chickenpox, it's the third leading cause of death in America that you're exposing them to.
Come on, somebody.
Wow.
That's it. That's it right there.
And who is this again? I'm sorry, y'all.
This is Governor Beshear of Kentucky.
Yeah. It's about time. I mean, I know. I mean, this is the kind of language we need. Y'all.
It is.
Y'all send it. Listen, I want to make a very clear distinction between the people who do not have a choice. See, what I wanted to use my energy for and my resources for in this pandemic was to help people who don't have a choice to send their kids back to school because they're essential workers. And because our government has failed us, our essential workers have had to work throughout the entirety of this pandemic because it's more important that Amazon gets to deliver your packages to you so that Jeff Bezos can make his quarterly profit margin so that he could go to space in the pandemic while essential workers are dying in the pandemic. That is the complexity of why we are where we are. They have failed us in order to get the profits that they need for their greed. But what we're dealing with is now we're at the stage where it's not adults that are going to be dying from this only. Children will be. And so I'm glad somebody's finally put some bass in your voice. You know, speak, say it with your chest down.
Excuse me. Absolutely. We definitely need more leaders like this to speak out, dude. I'm so confused on why this isn't happening more around the country, but you know, people are just stupid as hell, bro. That's all it is.
I have another clip that I just dropped in Slack, and I'll give you guys time to get it. Just let me know when you have it. This is a this is a Texas school superintendent, and he just yesterday, or the day before rather, he said that there will be no mask mandates in his school system in accordance to what Republican Governor Greg Abbott from the state of Texas was declaring. Shortly after he made that declaration, over 100 doctors from a children's hospital in Fort Worth, or rather a children's hospital, sent a letter to the Fort Worth superintendent of schools, and he reversed his decision. So he got information from these doctors. Now I'm not going to knock him for his wrong decision to say we're not going to wear masks. I'm going to thank him for changing his mind once he got evidence from scientists, the same evidence that's been out there the whole time, but I'm going to leave him alone. All right. And now they're going to do mask mandates. Now, I want to say this. The mask mandate is nice, but we're still talking about kids keeping on their mask in an incubator, which Governor Beshear said that it's basically a chickenpox party. If we have that clip, let's run the clip of the Fort Worth, Texas school superintendent. First, he's going to say there is no mask mandate. And then the second part of it is after he has taken into consideration the letter from 100 doctors from a children's hospital.
out. We are not going to mandate mask wearing.
That plan changed one day later with this announcement.
A mask mandate for all indoor school facilities and buses for students and employees.
Fort Worth is the second North Texas school district to mandate masks, behind Dallas ISD. Both districts are in direct violation of the governor's executive order on mask mandates.
He changed his mind hella quick.
Real
quick, he had a mask on himself. But he put a mask on his damn self the next day.
I saw it too. I'm like, oh, now you got a mask on. Oh, okay, cool.
Now you believe shit stinks. You know what I mean? Now you believe science. Like seriously, it took this. Why did it take a letter? You know what? I said I wasn't gonna berate him. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming to the side of reason.
Yes.
David, do we have any other clips? Because if you leave me talking about this guy, then I'm going to clown him.
We can go to
it really should not take 100 doctors to tell you what the CDC. And I'm going to be honest with you, the CDC is getting on my nerves a little bit in this process too. But I digress. Go ahead, David.
So the one thing I'll note, as far as these locales being in in violation of the governor's order, and the same thing's happening in Florida, and we might cover this. We might cover this part on Like It or Not, but I know that the White House has indicated there might be funds from one of the packages passed earlier in the pandemic that can basically fund if state funds are withheld from, whether it's locale schools or whatnot. So, but what we can go to is the one guy, man, that must be exhausted from this pandemic. Let's go to clip
Dr. Fauci.
B2. Right.
Let's listen to Fauci.
Man, Fauci has been putting in some work, because Fauci also was over the AIDS pandemic and crisis back in the 80s and 90s. Man, and now dealing with this, man, that man's tired.
Man, Fauci is like, wait, let me hear his voice so I can imitate him. Go ahead, let's play the clip first.
Dr. Fauci, do you agree with Randy Weingarten, the head of the largest teachers union in the country, who came out yesterday and said, yes, teachers should be vaccinated inside schools? Do you think they should be mandated to be vaccinated?
Yeah, I'm going to upset some people on this, but I think we should. I mean, we are in a critical situation now. We've had 615,000 plus deaths, and we are in a major surge now as we're going into the fall, into the school season. This is very serious business. You would wish that people would see why it's so important to get vaccinated. But you're not going to get mandates centrally from the federal government. But when you're talking about local mandates for schools, for teachers, for universities, for colleges, I'm sorry. I mean, I know people must like to have their individual freedom and not be told to do something, but I think we're in such a serious situation now that under certain circumstances, mandates should be done.
Mandates should be. I can't do his voice. I need a little more time on that. That's a complicated. That's a complicated voice you got there. So I'm going to digress on trying to do an impersonation and really focus on what he's saying here. Now, I got to preface this by saying that it is the case that the United States government should have, and state governments should have, protected our families and our children to the extent where no one should be inside of a public school, private or anything. And there should have been accommodations made by this government that would have cost probably less than the rounding error of the Pentagon's budget to ensure that we had homeschooling capabilities for every single family. I have to preface it by saying that I don't think our kids should be in school, but I don't have no control over that. So if our kids are going to be in school, for the love of God, can y'all not listen to this tiny little man who is so tired of all of y'all dumbness that y'all have been spreading around this country since he's been fighting the AIDS epidemic? Like you said, James, this brother got to be tired.
Gotta be. Being up there on the stage with Trump, I think that stressed him out the most. Those 4 years, you can just look at his face while he's back there giving press conferences. Donald Trump says something, Dr. Fauci's face is like,
I can't believe we got this idiot. We got.
I don't understand what he's talking about. You know,
that's it. You got it, James. Do it, James.
That job hurts.
Wait. What do you do his voice? I think I could do a port. I know you do a really good Donald Trump, but you do a better Fauci than me. So I could do Barack Obama. I can't do. Anyway, we'll get it right for Monday. The point is, y'all better listen to this man.
Right.
Please, for the love of all that is good. Sweet baby Jesus, 8 pounds, 6 ounces. Could y'all go and get the vaccine? Please. Save
just for a side note, Ben, take into context that this country, at least half this country, has treated Fauci like a politician and actually scoured his emails for lies.
Yes.
There was an email dump earlier.
Go ahead, David.
No, just so that people know what we're referring to. I think it was like I don't know if it was a hack or a leak of all of his emails, and people scoured it trying to find that needle in the haystack. They
couldn't find it. And they couldn't
find anything.
Y'all, listen. Oh, you know what we could do? We could do Fauci and Clyburn.
What the hell?
Dr. Fauci, we don't need any sloganeering. But what we need more than anything else, seriously, folks, seriously, all jokes aside, get the clip, David and Dwayne, and it should still be in our bank, in our drive, of Rand Paul. And the clip of him talking about how he uses disinformation to get an advantage. I want to keep that. There's certain clips that I just want to keep on repeat. And I want to put that up there because it has now come out that Rand Paul's wife has an investment in a biotech company that is aimed at making profits off of treatment of COVID-19. Not the cure, not the vaccine, but the treatment. His wife, and he just disclosed it, and it is 6 months too late for that disclosure, which means there is some type of violation there. But to what extent? To what extent did this man violate crimes, and should he be investigated and arrested? I would say yes. Because he is actively spreading misinformation that is going to benefit his bottom line. And we know that he's willing to do this type of thing because we got it from his own mouth. Run the clip.
I have to grab it first.
Oh, man, I thought we had it. But in the meantime, hashtag free Rand Paul's neighbor. Free Rand Paul's neighbor who beat his ass. And I think he got some charges, and I think he went to jail. He might be in jail right now. We need to free that man because Rand Paul
he got twisted tea, right?
Not everybody knows about the twisted tea, but he got twisted tea.
If you don't know what twisted tea is, please Google that. Twisted tea incident. That's all you need to see. A few people that need to be twisted tea'd in this. Never mind. I digress, bitch. Continue. My apologies, sir. My apologies.
Hey, no apologies necessary, Bubba, because, man, they wildin'. They wildin'. They playing with our lives. See, Greg Locke is talking about the Second Amendment. Bro, we got guns, too. Now, we ain't got as many guns as the federal government, and we ain't trying to run up on the federal government because they have made sure that they have let us know that they would kill us. Okay, so, but we got guns. We got guns. We exercise our Second Amendment right. And I'm about to get in touch and hang out. Well, I don't know their politics, and I'm sure they got stuff about them that I don't like, and I'm going to have to call them out, and we might not be friends in the long run. But I'm sure as hell about to make good friends with the NFAC, the not effing around crew, because y'all are playing with our children's lives. And I will use the Second Amendment to protect them. Or rather, I won't have to because the NFAC will. They're taller than me anyway. They got bigger guns. Do we got the clip yet?
I just dropped it. Dwayne, when you play that, put it in the reaction shot and we'll interrupt it when it's done.
James, they can't get us together. We are fools, bro. Y'all wait till we start doing these prank calls. We about to start doing political prank calls. I'm serious. We're going to be calling people and showing y'all exactly how stupid they really are. Let me know when you got it, man. Roll, what did it say, Latif? Oh, that beautiful bean footage. We can come back to them. We're going to take a break. Let's do this. Let's take a break. And we're going to give, because y'all know I love getting Rebecca on these conversations because she has an insight on these things that I miss every single time. She cuts to the core of it. So let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to unpack this Rand Paul video as well as the fact that his wife, Senator Rand Paul from the state of Kentucky, who has actively been in the face challenging Dr. Fauci. He has been spreading misinformation that is getting people sick and killed. And it turns out that Rand Paul has an investment in a company that is going to profit off of how many people get sick from COVID-19. James, it's in your hands.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. All right, y'all, make sure that you stay tuned. Like it or not, it's coming up next, man. We got some great stuff coming on the wall. Let's call, Lord. You beat me to the Lord. I can't stand you. Good morning, Mom. Love you. To Melody did Shelby Dragon, good morning. On and on it goes. Brother Marcus. Latif, what's going on, Brother Latif? Julie, going to the SLP. I already said Julie, Lisa Noel. Mr. Savage, sweetheart, what's going on? It's cable again. Because it's stupid. Like the Baltimore stupid. Can't say stupid. Pretty low frequency, good morning. Shelby Hall again. Y'all know, good morning, brother. Tom L. Oh, y'all ain't running by. Y'all ain't running. Y'all ain't running. Good morning. This is Sunday, right? Good morning, y'all. Miss C. Beasley, Susan. Good morning, Ear Hustler. Good morning. Shout out to everybody on my Twitch right now as well, too. I'm getting y'all momentarily. Y'all good. LZ 24/7. Good morning, brother Chuck. Peace. Good morning, brother Chuck. Leroy Jenkins. Good morning, Sarah AP. Good morning, Tractor Tasha. Good morning. Good morning, Michael 147. Jago. Good morning, Ricky. Good morning, the Six Dragon Daddy. That's my brother. Good morning, Ranger Song. Good morning. On and on it goes, Sun Queen. We got Julie. I got Julie. All right. I think I got everything this morning. No, humanist. There we go. Good morning, y'all. Woo. If I missed y'all, y'all know I love y'all and I mean it, man. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up next. Stay tuned. Afraid Not. Good morning. I see you. FBI Dragon. I see you too. 10 morning. And Kelly Logan. Good morning. Sylvia, good morning, y'all. Okay. Good morning. Lily, good morning. Love you too. I need to show you right. Ooh, you get some coffee. Look at me now. I can't explain what is right with me. What you did to me when I met you last summer. Set me free, baby. Computer Geek, good morning. Lisa Noel, good morning too. And we're walking on cloud now. I'm wide awake and the step I take is the sound. Sir Queen, good morning to you. Melanie Dennis, good morning. Kareem, good morning. Now you're here with me and we're walking on cloud nine. Nat, hey, good morning. I need to go look at her and see what my nephew done did now. Y'all always trying to blame my damn nephew now. Y'all make sure it's good morning, Nat, hey. Terry, good morning, Terry. I see you. I'm trying to multitask, but I see you. Brother Tiger, what's going on, sir? Good morning. Now you're here with me, and we're walking on cloud nine. Mara Cerise, good morning, Mara. How you doing? Big boy GMC 21, good morning from Arizona. He says, man, I hope you're being safe out there. Good morning to you. Good morning. Jacob, good morning. When I get you back, oh yeah. Wait, I was about to say unmute me and let me sing. When I get you back, oh yeah. That would have been hilarious. You'll never. Because when he hit that deep part of Dwayne, there's no one else. I'm like, okay, Ben. I'd rather be with. Baby, I won't let you down. I got it. I know you need it. Love is it.
when you're around. Oh, please say that you
James, if y'all ever put me out there and y'all expose me singing behind the scenes, I ain't gonna say I'm gonna fire everybody because I'll never recover from that. But just y'all don't do that to me. I just be trying to enjoy myself behind the scenes.
How y'all would have heard Ben when I get you back on? Yeah, I was like, okay, bro.
No,
okay.
You know, I hit some deep notes if you let me. All right, let's yeah. Oh
crap. Okay.
Do you
filibuster for a second. Filibuster.
Okay, we'll give you time. We're gonna switch. We're gonna switch and go back to Rand Paul because I got issues with RandAl. I got real deep-seated issues with him because Rand Paul got issues. Yeah. Rand Paul has issues. He's a monster. I would call him a sociopath, but that's an insult to sociopaths. Donald Trump is a sociopath. Rand Paul is a monster on top of the sociopathy because he actively does these things to get an advantage. He lies. He lies in order to get an advantage. And in this case, we're talking about an advantage in terms of his financial investment through his wife, who has money in a biotech company that benefits and profits off of COVID-19 treatments. Y'all, this is something that you would get out of, remember the Pelican Brief and all those conspiracy theory movies back in the day? This is the type of conspiracy that they wrote movies about before. But here's a sitting U.S. senator in the form of Rand Paul, whose wife, who did not disclose that he had a financial interest in the number of people who got sick from COVID-19 because his wife has a financial interest in a company that provides treatment for COVID-19. And you want us to believe, does anybody expect us to believe that Rand Paul is not actively trying to do this for his own personal benefit? Because if you believe that, I need you to watch this clip.
Have been dragged in this game. I have been the face of COVID, okay, in this whole country as the doctor, giving the world the precautions to deal with, while states were trying to fight them and push them down. What you will not do today to me, Mr. No Sleep, rolling out of bed, messy hair, bags heavy, under the eyes. You will not tell me that it is my fault. But you need to look at your colleagues and your peers. And the governor, like the governor of Texas, whatever his name is.
Greg Abbott.
Greg Abbott.
Senator Ted Cruz.
And Governor Greg Abbott. Go up to New York and look how they were hiding those numbers. If you're going to point those fingers, it was because you guys were acting like COVID wasn't a thing. And it turns out people died because it really is.
And you know what? I always wonder, I'm like, Fauci has been around and been doing this for a long time. And it was a key part, even in the AIDS pandemic. And I'm sure that he didn't even have to go through any of this.
Wow.
Because right now, they're just like, this makes no sense. You're basically accusing him and his people of killing millions of people around the world. In a nutshell is what you're doing.
I got to say this about Rand Paul. And I want to say it after we play this last clip.
Senator Paul, a majority of the med students here today have a comprehensive exam tomorrow. Just wondering if you have any last-minute advice.
Actually, I do. I'll tell you this. I never, ever cheated, and I don't condone cheating, but I would sometimes spread misinformation. And this is a great tactic. Misinformation can be very important. So one time we were in the library and we were studying for a path test. And so we just started spreading the rumor that we knew what was on the test, and it was definitely all about liver. Everything, there's going to be a vast majority of questions all about liver. So we tried to trick all of our competing students into overstudying for the liver and not studying for the kidney and every other organ that's on there. But so that's my advice. Misinformation works. So try to trick your opponents into knowing that the test is about something it's not.
Trick your opponents into thinking the test is about something that it's not. I mean, from the horse's mouth. I mean, our voices were there too. Rebecca pop up anywhere. She don't care if she's not even here. She gonna show up on the screen. That said, Rand Paul. Rand Paul literally just told us, he was at the Benjamin Rush Institute. He said that misinformation is useful and that he has since college been spreading misinformation to get an advantage. Is there anyone who is going to suggest, is there any juror, Not that jurors are going to have anything to do with this, but is there anyone in the legal system that is not bought and paid for by politicians and by corporations that will look at this in good faith and say that Rand Paul was not actively spreading misinformation in order to gain an advantage in his bottom line profits through his wife, who has an investment, an undisclosed. Now, as politicians, you are required to disclose all of your financial investments, and that includes your spouse. They did not disclose until 6 months later. We just found out last night. And as a result, there should be an investigation because he is profiting off of spreading misinformation, and it is getting people killed. So that's all I got. What y'all got?
I just keep thinking how this is a not board certified ophthalmologist who likes to think of himself as a virologist.
You said that, David. You
That's
said
right.
that, David.
You said that. That is so.
Not even certified in his own field.
Look. Here's my greatest naivete. The place where I'm most naive is that it took me a little bit too long to realize that these people are really just evil. Full stop. I always try to reject the idea that some people are just Disney villain-esque. Right? You know, the guys who are twisting their mustache like, I'm going to take over the world by getting everyone sick and making money off of my investments. No. This is real. This is not fiction. This is Rand Paul in real time. This is what he's doing, and he's doing it with your children's lives, the lives of your loved ones. So that's why I say hashtag free Rand Paul's neighbor. Because I can't do it. I'd be, y'all know what they do to us.
On the COVID subject, but a little bit more detrimental because it's Florida, and Florida's in more shape than Kentucky. Dwayne, if we can transition to the B segment, let's roll. Which one are we? Sorry. Let's go to B3. This is the White House press secretary responding to Governor DeSantis, basically throwing health to everything.
Say that, Ron. This is a clip of Ron DeSantis from Florida.
No, this is Psaki responding to DeSantis. The next one will be DeSantis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jen, because this is getting to a point where it is Hold on. Somebody said, while you guys get that clip, somebody said to me on Twitter that the reason so many people have died from COVID-19 and so many people refuse to get the vaccine is because we are facing a misinformation campaign, the scale that we have never seen in the history of humanity. You got to understand, folks, they are coordinated from Rand Paul, from Donald Trump to Rand Paul to Steve Bannon to Paula White, Greg Locke, all those evangelical preachers who preach the same political message every single Sunday, Fox News, Tucker Carlson, hell, you got some people who are pretending to be progressive who are doing the same type of anti-vax, anti-mask messaging. And in a minute, we are going to talk about black folks because we got that in our own community. But in the temples of our empire, in Washington, D.C., we have snakes like Rand Paul who are sitting there lying to Americans so that he can make a profit. This man needs to be tarred and feathered in the old sense. This is not acceptable. These are human lives. And they want to act like they have something to be aggrieved over. No, we literally have cause. The American people, now this is probably a good place for us to get another clip because I'm going to tell you the truth. The American people have cause. We had cause for a revolution last year when they killed George Floyd in the middle of a pandemic. And the president of the United States went and used the military to clear Lafayette Square so that he could pose with the Bible upside down. This government has abdicated its responsibility to take care of the people. And so we have cause. And yet people like Rand Paul is acting like he has cause. But his cause is his money. Let's run that clip.
So before Dwayne rolls B3, just to give a little bit of a review in the week for anyone that's not in on all of this, DeSantis said earlier in the week that
that's the Florida governor, right?
Yes. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida said that he would move to withhold the salaries of superintendents and school board members who disregarded his executive order prohibiting mask mandates in schools. There's districts actually considering going over that, disregarding it, and enforcing mask mandates anyway. This all comes at the same time that DeSantis, while trying to not care about COVID, is requesting 300 ventilators from the federal government. Roll Beeford.
If you're not interested in following the public health guidelines to protect the lives of people in your state, to give parents some comfort as they're sending their kids to school. Schools are opening in Florida this week, I know, in many parts of Florida. Then get out of the way and let public officials, let local officials do their job to keep students safe. But that in the American Rescue Plan allocation, or in the guidelines for parameters for how that money could be spent, certainly paying for salaries is a part of that, or could be a part of that, and could cover those needs for these officials. And now that money would have to be distributed. But the Department of Education is looking at options. I'm not making a threat of withholding. Certainly we don't want to hurt the people of Florida, but we're looking at a range of options to support the public health officials, the teachers, and officials who are trying to protect students and their communities.
So we're dealing with a battle between states' rights and the federal government, a 10th Amendment issue. And in this case, the federal government is having to step in to provide salaries for teachers, administrators, superintendents, and doctors, potentially. Like, this is not in stone yet, but she's saying that there are resources where the federal government would be able to circumvent the state in order to provide resources. So this is a classic 10th Amendment kind of issue. But the thing that is so bothersome to me is that the potential victory here is not really a victory. If Jen Psaki does what she says, and the Department of Education provides salaries for, like, let's say for teachers, for example, not the health officials, please do that. Do exactly that for the health officials. But for teachers, y'all need to provide their salaries so they can teach remotely at home in some kind of bubble to protect the teachers and their children. Right. So I want us to make sure that while Jen Psaki is logically consistent and correct in this clip, we got to be mindful that the victory that they are setting up here is not really a win in terms of COVID-19, but it is most certainly a win against the demagoguery of Ron DeSantis. That's my best take on it. That's all I got.
No,
that's
he's right. Yeah.
Seems like I got nothing to add. Well,
because yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it together, laughing at my own jokes. Okay.
What's the dad joke, James? What's the dad joke you laughing at?
Not a dad joke.
Give it. You know I love dad jokes. So let's go.
I've been trying to hold it together over here.
We gonna laugh through this, y'all. We gonna laugh. Matter of fact, James, when it's over, man, I'm pulling up over there when it's over, man. Give me the joke. What you got?
Okay. So y'all sold my vacuum the other day. All it was doing was collecting dust.
I can't stand you, James. I don't like you. I do not like you for making me laugh at something that bad.
Hey, and also, did y'all hear about the Italian chef who died?
Oh, Lord. No.
He didn't kill himself, right?
He passed away.
Y'all play me some damn music. Get us out of here. Is Rebecca ready? I know she had to work this morning, so she might not be able to pull up this morning. It's totally cool, but she's not quite ready. We go take a quick five. James, and I didn't hear. Have you been able to read off the patrons and stuff? You did that already? Because I want to be sure to give everyone a very special thank you for all their support, man.
Absolutely, yeah. That way I can go ahead and get my few patrons read off real quick. So yeah, that's cool.
All right, let's do that. We're gonna re-up. We're gonna reset. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, there's still a lot of stories that we need to cover. But this is going to be a COVID intense day, which is why we're taking it so light. The situation is serious. And you know how serious it is. You don't need us to add into the anxiety, but we're going to add to the clarity. And we're going to add to the community with some joy. So, James, it's in your hands when we come back, like it or not.
We get down to
That baseline just came in real nasty, didn't it? Tom F said, Bubba needs a job right at them popsicle sticks. Yo, those things should be good. That and the Laffy Taffy rappers. I don't know if y'all remember the Laffy Taffy rappers. And now they're not even in them anymore because they put them in this old stupid like plastic wrapper. Like, give me a paperback. Let me unwrap my Laffy Taffy and read my joke, okay? All right, y'all. New patrons today. New patrons. Now, thank y'all so much. New patrons we have Peter White and Daniel K. Sister Sis Cute Cat cheered 100 bits. Sister Sis Cute Cat, we appreciate you. Shout out to Jam Tune and Rachel Letney as always on Twitch, man. We greatly appreciate y'all as well. Remember, you too can become a member of Patreon. Patreon.com/like-it-or-not. Patreon.com/like-it-or-not, y'all. Make sure that y'all join and go ahead and get those updates. Oh, I'm supposed to be posting a new mix that I worked on last week. You don't want to miss it. I'll be posting it today sometime, so make sure you stay tuned. SoundCloud.com/DJX3C, okay? Waiting for something I can't get out. Alicia, good morning. Kathleen, good morning as well, too. I don't even care anymore. It's like we're losing our track of time. I just got one thing on my mind. Baby, one day I'm hoping that you will be mine. Turn my life around. Yeah. Where do we go when everything feels like it just stays the same? Where do we go from here when everything is said and done? B, this is Gloria Tales. Gloria Tales, B. Yes, she's on a lot of music that I have. A lot of music. Pretend you're terrible. What back mother smoking on? I'm just playing. Y'all don't get me started. Good morning, Mom and Daddy. Environmental Coffee House, good morning to you. Little touch bar. Oh, Linda, you right. Happy Friday, Junior, everybody. Happy Friday, Junior. Yay, Friday, Junior. I don't want to go to work today. Happy Friday. Brother Tyler, good morning, Tyler. William Moore, good morning, sir. Jago, good morning. I'm still tripping. Mason Gray got canceled. What did she do or say? I'm gonna have to find out about that. Because when you find out what that truly means. See, it's Gloria. Gloria Tales. TELL. Always afraid of the unknown, cause we are. Still let those game on what's going on, sis. Stuck in my head, saying can't find a way out. Way out. Like, you know I'm doing what I can, Tiger. Hey, real quick, y'all. What did the fish shake when he swam into a wall? Damn. Slowly moving towards the life we first intended. Oh yeah. I know. Y'all love me. Y'all love me. I know. Don't let them win, no. So don't go pursue a dream. That's not your own. But everybody expect you to be. Okay, Tiger, that makes sense. That's an anti-joke. Okay. Marcus, I told y'all don't have no sense, man.
I was afraid of the unknown, cause we are not alright.
Miss Sophia, don't do me like that, Miss Sophia. Good morning, Sophia. Good morning. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the screen. My brother from another. I said, welcome back to the screen. Welcome back to your ears. My brother from another mother.
I'm on the screen, man. I'm on the screen. I just honestly do not look as clean as I look in this picture right here. You can't dress like this in the streets. You can't. I ain't got no watch on. I ain't got no ring on. I ain't got none of that.
Somebody said something in the chat yesterday about your picture, how I look, and I can't remember what it was, but it tickled me so much.
Remember?
What did they say?
Ben looked like he can't even get a word in his picture.
They won't even let me say nothing. On my own network, on my own channel, I can't get a word in, nary word in. But no, somebody said my last picture I took, they said I looked like a sleazy lawyer. So yeah, I'm like, at least that's an upgrade. I don't look like a sleazy lawyer anymore, so it's an upgrade.
One call, that's all. Benjamin P. Dixon.
I'm doing my best not to look like somebody's pastor in this photo, but I think I might be portraying my own intentions. Maybe I need to switch it up a little bit.
You definitely got that's the look that the pastor give when he's sitting over there to the side while he being introduced. That's the look right there.
It's the deep look. It's the deep look. This is where you rocking back and forth in your hand. You know, this is when the preacher in the pulpit and he got his head down, looking humble and stuff. He getting introduced. Coming to the stage now.
Y'all ready? Here you go. All right, this next visiting pastor is from Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you, sir.
To bring us in and raise the good word. This pastor has been all the way to the mountaintop of the world and has come down from the mountain to praise and bring our congregation together. Benjamin P. Dixon, would you please come? Would you come?
I am pastor Miss Leadership class. I want to tell all of my members that we don't allow sloganeering in our church. If you come to our church and you sloganeer in our church, we will meet you at the door with our Second Amendment rights. So, run the clip of this man.
A revolutionary, a visionary, a warrior of God.
I'm going to change my picture. David, run this clip. This next clip is... it's apropos. It's poignant. It is a little sad because he's talking about his wife with stage 4 cancer. But he is really breaking this thing down as to how y'all who refuse science and refuse vaccines, how ridiculous you look when after you refuse the science of the vaccine, you rush to the hospital to accept the science of the hospital. Make it make sense, Sway. Let's run it.
Hey folks, how you doing? I just got a quick question about this whole COVID, not getting vaccinated and running to the hospital once you get the virus deal, because this is out of control, all right? And I'm gonna give you a quick story on why I think it's out of control. Last week I had to bring my wife into the hospital. She has stage 4 breast cancer. She was dealing with some symptoms, and I had to bring her in to get some fluid drained. She was having some pain, blah, blah, blah. She was in there for 2 days. On the 3rd day, she honestly should have stayed one more day. Maybe 2 more days, okay? But on the 3rd day, instead of draining her fluid and what they wanted to do, they told us that she had to be discharged because they had no room left in the hospital because of COVID. Here's my question. Why 99% of everybody that's in the hospital with COVID right now is unvaccinated, okay? If you really believe that COVID's not real, and you really believe that's not a big deal, and you really believe that you don't need to get the vaccine, that is your right, okay? I'm not gonna argue with you about that. What I am gonna argue with about is you running to the hospital once you get the virus. If you don't trust the medical field to prevent you from getting it, why do you trust them to cure you from it? Why do you run to the hospital? If you really believe that COVID's not a big deal and it's not this, that, the other, and you don't get the vaccine stick to your guns and keep your ass at home. Stop running to the hospital, putting everybody else at risk, and in turn, the collateral damages. People like my wife who actually need medical help for a chronic disease, get kicked out of the hospital because your dumbass is too stupid to go get a vaccine shot. Keep your ass at home. If you really believe COVID's not a big deal, prove it. Stick to your guns. Keep your ass at home and deal with it.
I just got to say, I cannot imagine what it must be like to be caring for your stage 4 cancer surviving wife and to be put out of a hospital because of 99% of the people in there from COVID-19 did not get vaccinated. That's right. 99% of the people who are in hospitals right now did not get vaccinated. And what's hilariously sad is the fact that people are like, somebody pointed out to me on Twitter, oh, there's 600 people who got sick from COVID-19 and they were all fully vaccinated. Well, hey, moron, 100,000 got sick yesterday. 1,000 died. So I can't imagine this brother and what he's going through, but he's sharing it. And he's dead on. He right as hell, James.
Oh, yeah, he's super right. And I mean, now and of course, there are videos coming out now where, excuse me, where they're talking about, hey, my family member, let's say my daughter, who was 6 or 7 years old, is now in the hospital because I didn't want to get the vaccine and I've been out. Now you see the narrative and you see the rhetoric. Everything this man's saying is true. You didn't want to get the vaccine and you're not believing any of the stuff that's being said by the CDC or any of the doctors and medical professionals. Stick to your guns. This is what you decided to do. Now you're changing the tune and you keep that same energy. Now you're changing the tune because you see it's real. Yeah, man. This crap is real. I don't know what other proof you need. I that's what I have such a hard time wrapping my head around when it comes to certain things. I don't see how anybody can not see what we've been seeing and not believe that the vaccine is what's going to help, and that any of these mandates or recommendations, y'all just not following. I just don't understand that. Why would you choose death over life?
Why would you choose death over life? My God. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I only was adding that they're definitely coming to regret it later. It's just too late. And this guy's point, they're using hospital beds even when worsening the situation. But to lighten the load, we do have I think we're expecting a guest soon. Before we make that transition, I have the second clip that kind of says it a little bit shorter and lightens things up a bit.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm not going to get the vaccine, then die.
Then die.
What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team. This isn't mock trial. Aren't you worried about the side effects? I'm worried about the disease. They're tracking you through the microchip.
Play it one more
They're tracking
time.
you through the phone you're watching this on. Get the vaccine. I'm not going to get the vaccine, then die. What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team. This isn't mock trial. Aren't you worried about the side effects? I'm worried about the disease. They're tracking you through the microchip. They're tracking you through the phone you're watching this on. Get the vaccine. I'm not going to get the vaccine.
One more time.
Then die.
Let it go.
What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team. This isn't
Third
mock
time's the
trial.
charm.
Aren't you worried about the side effects? I'm worried about the disease. They're tracking you through the microchip. They're tracking you through the phone you're watching this on. Get the vaccine.
Y'all let me know when we're expecting a guest coming up. Let me know when he's ready. But bruh, thank you. That dude is he's my spirit animal, man.
Rebecca's waiting, I think.
Oh, Rebecca. Oh, she's outside the club. Come on, let's sit in the club. Can I do a music? Can I do a request, James, or do you have something for it?
No. What you got?
Light 'em up. Earth, light 'em up.
Of course. Okay, that's you can go ahead and send the tip to DJ Dixon.
I'm gonna bring it over later on, man. I'll bring the tip later on, man. Just have that, Anyway, let me. This song, y'all. This song. I'm trying to watch this. This song. This is my jam. Let me tell you. 10 feet flat. Wait, I don't even know the lyrics, but Earth, light 'em up. I don't know who these guys are. This is the dopest song ever. James, it's in your hands.
Got you. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Rebecca has entered the building, or should I say she's outside the club, and she can't even get in. But she's coming, y'all, so make sure that y'all stay tuned. We're going to let the music ride on this one, so I'm going to shut the hell up and let the music play.
I'm in sync with the earth. 10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I die, I'm a ride for the squad, ladder ties in the hearse. I've been on the vibe, kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind. Then I come alive in the night to realize I'm in the middle of the time of my life. I'm never so packed for the stack, never lied on the rap. Got a bag from the way that I write it. Queen looking Tyson, do that ass survive, doing 80 to the house. Then I hit it to the sky, change haters on a tirade. Talking to they grip in the face, be still, let that hate stuff fade. We all want the same, we all want a meal in the safe. I wanna live like I'm trying to reach enlightenment. Trail spill from my lips, feel bent from the bip. Take a sip till I pass out. Try and get grip, but it don't make sense. Cause you can lose life on this fast route. Yeah, turn thoughts to a cash cow. I might flip that to the glass house. I don't need the accolades, I'm in love with the chase. I just wanna eat, save a spot at the table. Beats with the slap, pin myself on the map. You long with the wind, but we knowing that it's cap. 5-hour flights, couple nights at the flat. To be real, couldn't see me making moves while I'm at. I'm still on the grind, limit time when I chat. Burning down sage, keep the demons away. When I write it, give a piece of myself to the page. I don't do it for the praise, love, that's just how I'm made.
From the glass in the mirror, do it, me old man, tryna pass in the fear. You're the first one to talk, but the last one to hear. Eyes blurry, but I couldn't see that, and he cleared down. Start to feel like I'm on one. Settle in, I'll be here for the long run. I'm a slave for the cash, got snakes in the grass, no brakes on the ad, but it's all fun. We done seen it all, heard it all. Heard enough, give me space before I murder y'all. 10 bad here, I'ma curve them all. 12 missed calls, and I still made a curtain call. Here to light it up, lighten up. Hear him talking, they ain't right enough, tighten up. Everything that I came for, I left with. I don't bang sets, I just bang on the set list. Going past supper when I came for the breakfast. Put me in your prayers, I might put you on the guest list. Young, to me reckless. Gold in my soul, got the same on my necklace.
Rebecca in the Slack telling jokes now. Let's go, Rebecca. Right. I can't stand it. It is time to come back and welcome to the screen, my sister from another mister. Hope we're ready to go. Okay, y'all, it's time to welcome back to the screen my sister from another mister, my brother from another mother, who was holding that pose. Somebody said Ben must be tired because he's been holding that pose for the past week. Rebecca.
No, you see, you see, I had to make sure my little cufflink showed. I was like, make sure the cufflink shows.
It's the watch for me because
it's the watch for me.
Everybody who gets a brand new watch, like my manager who follows me on Instagram, which is very eerie and weird, he got a new watch. He got new teeth and he got a new watch. And every time, like ever since he been on Instagram, never be at work, but be on Instagram like his head is itching. He got a problem with his beard. He can't close his mouth. And then he wrote me because I got my braces taken off and I'm wearing Invisaligns right now for the month, but I'm getting them back on. He wrote me new teeth. Who this? I'm like, no, these are my teeth. These are my teeth.
My teeth. Who this?
He told me his teeth are good for 10 years. Oh my!
10 years.
I can't make this up. Why his teeth are good only for 10 years?
Why only 10?
No. Why did he tell me?
He must have a warranty. He has a 10-year warranty with the dentist.
He went to Mexico, came back with new teeth.
Yeah. Well, let me get my passport to go to Mexico and get me some teeth and a new Brazilian butt lift, the BBL.
Lift it up.
Lift it up.
Tuck. Tuck and roll.
Cinch that
No,
waist,
that watch like 15 years old. I had to fix it. It was been sitting in my closet. I'm like, I ain't going to buy no new watch.
Nobody knows it don't work in this picture.
Okay.
Because it don't work.
On himself.
It don't work. I don't care.
It don't work.
It fly though. But here, hey, I bet you that clock is right twice a day. Every time you watch this video, that clock could be right. Anyway, I digress. Listen, Rebecca, glad to hear. We got none other than Cliff Albright, who's a co-founder of Black Voters Matter. He's joining us for a conversation about the work from the organization as well as what they're doing around the country. Brother, do you have a watch that works?
I got a watch. My watch works underwater. It ain't as cute as yours, but
Hello, it works underwater. We're talking about technology. Ben got that.
My watch work underwater too. Exactly the way it works right now.
That's probably why it's not working right now.
All right.
Oh, you can't.
This show has range.
Okay.
This show has range. We will go from just gutter comedy all the way to stuff that matters the very, very most. And Cliff, you are on the front lines. Y'all are around the. Matter of fact, you were arrested protesting on behalf of our rights. Tell us about that arrest in conjunction with everything that is going on with Black Voters Matter.
Yeah, well, before I could tell you about my arrest, and thanks for having me, y'all. It's always good to join y'all. Before I could talk about my arrest, I had to go back and talk about the arrest that the sisters had done a week or two before my arrest, which was, my sister comrade, Latasha Brown, Melanie Campbell from National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, Congressional Black Caucus Chair, Congresswoman Beatty, who was arrested as well. They started it off. And it was mainly sisters, right? It was Black Women's Roundtable. And so, I got the idea that, look, we need to get the brothers to have a day of action so that we can show support for what the sisters had started up. So I called up some folks who answered like on a moment's notice, people like Rashad Robinson, people like Dr. Wes Bellamy, and including Congressman Hank Johnson from the state of Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Who joined us out there he got arrested with us. So it was 10 of us that got arrested that day. Ty Hobson Powell, young brother who involved in the DC statehood movement. And basically we went out there, we did a march from the Supreme Court over to the Senate office building, did a protest, locked arms in front of the Senate office building, delivering the message that we need Senate action. We need them to get rid of the filibuster. We need them to pass the For the People Act now, not in September, but now. And so that's what we were doing to get arrested, because we believe strongly that in order to get our voting rights, it's going to take escalating the direct actions. It's going to take a level of civil disobedience similar to what we saw in the 60s and when the Voting Rights Act of 65 first got passed. It shouldn't take that much, right? We shouldn't have to work this hard in order to get our voting rights, especially when Democrats control the White House, the House, and the Senate, right? So it shouldn't be this hard. But if this is what it's going to take, then we're going to answer the call and we're going to get it done, and we're going to use our power and pressure those that we put in office to use their power to get the voting rights that we deserve.
That's right. Cliff, we gotta. I want to unpack all of that, and actually, I want to talk with you offline also, because you all are going around the country doing these types of actions, and that's a question I ask myself every morning when I wake up. Why is it so hard to get our rights? Why is it so hard to get peace? But we got a clip. David, tell me what's in this clip, and let's run it real quick.
So this is a very brief rundown of things that have happened in the past, I would say, a week or so in Texas after Democrats again refused to attend so that they could break quorum.
Texas showdown escalated. Republicans in the Lone Star State are increasing pressure on Democratic lawmakers to return to the state's legislature, threatening they may be arrested if they fail to go back to the GOP-led chamber. Speaker Dade Phelan has signed civil arrest warrants for 52 Democrats who failed to return during the fourth day of the House's second special session, leaving the chamber 8 members short of a quorum. 57 Democratic lawmakers fled to Washington in mid-July to break quorum and block the passage of controversial voting legislation. The decision to issue the warrants came hours after the Texas Supreme Court reversed a lower court ruling that protected Democrats from being arrested.
All right, so that is a breakdown. That's a breakdown from the recount, and we're playing that with you, Cliff, because you're all over this. You see what's going on. You know what's happening. Give us an update. They really think they're going to arrest these Democrats for trying to protect our rights?
Yeah, at least that's the threat that they're putting out there, right? And you know, they talk about in fact, they had the sergeant at arms literally going office to office in the Texas Capitol yesterday, trying to deliver those warrants and deliver that message to whoever was in their offices, which seemed ridiculous to me. Like, why are you going around to the offices telling them they need to show up at the offices? But anyway, but it's very real, right? You know, because you got folks, you still got a group of around 20 to 25 of those Texas Democrats that are still here in DC. That, you know, they were trying to stay here as long as the Senate was in session to continue to plead their case and to work to get the Voting Rights Act passed. And so they're still here, and they're looking at going back. They've actually think that they've discovered a loophole, not a loophole, but they've discovered a procedure, a writ of habeas corpus that one of their members was able to use yesterday to basically put a stay on the arrest warrants that were the civil arrest warrants that were issued. This is separate from the court action that was eventually overturned from the Supreme Court. Now, this writ process may also wind up getting overturned by a district court or by the Supreme Court, but they think that they may have found something that gives them an extra level of protection. But the bottom line is this: that shouldn't be necessary, right? They shouldn't be in this situation. The bill should have been passed before the Senate went on recess. That's part of the reason why they came here to DC and why they were working so hard for the 4 weeks that they were in DC. They shouldn't be in this situation of having to face possible arrest and at a minimum facing the harassment and the threat of arrest. But they're standing firm. They're still saying that they want to hold the line, that they don't want to return for this second session. They're still maintaining the unity that they have and organizing possible direct action and civil disobedience for whenever it is that they do return. And we're supporting that process. We're going to give them whatever support that they need to continue to state their case, to continue to resist. As we speak, I know as of this morning, on the Senate side, there's a Senate member, Senator Alvarado, who's been doing a standing talking filibuster in the Texas Senate. That's not the House that's been breaking the quorum, but in the Senate side, she's doing a standing talking filibuster that I think is still going on. It's been going on. It was going on for at least 12 hours as of 8 o'clock this morning. So I think it might still be going on. But she's doing her part on the Senate side to resist this. So they're doing everything that they can, but they've got to have federal help. We all have got to have federal help. We need the Senate to cut their recess short, come back and finish the job, and we need President Biden to pick a side and lean in to demanding that this bill gets passed.
So, Cliff, you're saying, you're calling these people out, you're holding them accountable. I know we discussed that here on the show before. I know in a recent interview that you did with Blavity, I believe, you quoted. You was very intense too, and I like that. But you quoted Martin Luther King and saying, we have to start holding our own accountable. Those who say that they're on our side. You said, when Martin Luther King said that the white moderate could be worse than the KKK. We got to start watching out for our own. I mean, what brought you to that level and to bring that out? Because a lot of people might look at you and say, aren't you supposed to be someone who's free thinking, liberal? We're all for each other. We all represent that blue. But clearly that is not true. I ain't trying to rhyme, but I'm a poet sometimes.
You just did it. I can't stand you, Rebecca.
Oh my God.
Right. You must be from the Bronx or something. But
I lived in New York, but I'm not.
All right, close enough. You're absolutely right. I was referencing Dr. King in the letter from Birmingham jail, right, which is a letter that he wrote not to the white supremacists, but to clergy members in particular that were supposed to be on his side. And it's a constant reminder that sometimes you gotta love. Doesn't mean that you don't call out people, right? I rebuke those whom I love, right? I correct those who I love, right? Sometimes you got to call them out, even though they're on your side. They might even be one of your 12 students, dare I say, a disciple that you might have to turn to when they say something crazy and say, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Sometimes you got to call out the people that are closest to you. That's the situation that we're in right now. We got to call out the folks on the Senate side that we gave power to, that Black folks, not just around this country, but in particular in Georgia, risked our lives in the midst of the winter and COVID and the holiday season in the first week of January to send not one, but two senators to give them this power. It does us no good to go through all that, and then you don't use the power that you have to have the backs of the people that put you there. That's what Joe Biden said. On his acceptance, he said, you vote, black voters, you've always had my back, and now I'll have yours. And yet in this moment, when we need him to have our backs, when we need him to have an LBJ moment where he says, I'm a lean into all these Southerners and all these Democrats that don't want to see this voting rights bill, and I'm a lean in their face, I'm a spit in their face, literally. I'm a do whatever I can to twist some arms and get it done. He got it done, right? And now he had to be forced into that. LBJ had to be forced into that by the Dr. Kings and the Amelia Boyntons and the people and Fannie Lou Hamers and Mississippi, Alabama, and all across the state. Movement forced him into that moment. And unfortunately, that's the same thing that's got to take for Biden to step into this moment instead of just doing what he's been doing, which is trying to play both sides, trying to say that voting rights is sacred, but then in the very next sentence say, but I can't get rid of this filibuster. You can't have it both ways, President Biden. And we'll be delivering that message today at the White House when Black Voters Matter, along with 6 or 7 other organizations and the family of John Lewis, 4 family members of John Lewis are going to join us today to deliver a petition calling on President Biden to end the filibuster and to do a request, an unequivocal request, not one of these, I kind of wish, and this would be good, and maybe standing. No, they got the unequivocal, clear statement saying that we need to end the filibuster in order to get these voting rights passed. And if he says no, he's going to have to do so in the face of the likes of John Lewis's 2 brothers and his niece that are going to be joining us today, along with 6 or 7 other organizations, as we deliver a petition that has thousands of signatures asking him, demanding that he end the filibuster to pass voting rights.
You think bad man, Cliff.
Yeah, you a bad man, Cliff.
Bad.
Listen, do you think that he'll be these people literally and do they get embarrassed? Do they get hurt? Do they feel like this affects them? Do they feel like, man, I know that we use people's blackness to take a step up so that we can take the presidential seats, or we can take this Congress seat, or we can take the Senate seat, or we can take this leadership position. They'll be like, we are going to work for the Black people. And that's what we heard Joe Biden and many other leaders say. But when their feet are to the fire, I feel like almost they don't even care who's in front of them. Right. And they will say no, because we've seen them say no to so many things and so many promises that they've made, turn around and be like, when did I say that? I mean, I really meant X, Y, and Z. And this only pertains to certain type of folks. Did you look at the asterisks at the bottom of my quote? Like, that kind of whole thing. But even in this moment, though, if he does say no, I think that with the way that you're fighting, with everybody around you who's fighting, who you have partnered with through your allies who are actually rocking with you and answering back to those text messages in the text message group, who are showing up. All of you guys are definitely a great example of who gives a damn. I don't care who you are. We'll hold you accountable, and which is great. And you got people who have big names and, who are part of legacies of people who've been fighting, right? And all of these leaders will quote their parents, uncles, all of them will use them in their speeches. But when it's time to really step up, it's very questionable. Yeah, they ain't doing nothing.
I was actually, after we did a press conference yesterday, prior to the one that we're doing today with the Lewis family, and I don't think they mind me sharing, and not just them, but some people have observed that some of the same people that have voted against voting rights, right, or some of the same ones that have voted against, ending the filibuster in order to advance the For the People Act, people like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Some of these same people sat a year ago at the funeral services for John Lewis, right? Mm-hmm. Some of them have just last a couple of weeks ago, when the anniversary of his passing came around, they tweeted out all kinds of nice remarks, and so including Kyrsten Sinema herself. She had the audacity to tweet out how much respect and how much of a hero John Lewis was to her, even as she stands in the way of blocking signature legislation that not only is named after him, but literally was written by him. right? And so the audacity and the lack of shame, I think you asked, is there any shame in there? They've just been shameless in the ways that they go about pretending that they care about voting rights, giving long speeches where they say that voting rights is facing the biggest threat since the Civil War. That's what President Biden said. I didn't force him to say that. That's what he said. But you can't say that and then say, "Ooh, but that filibuster, I just can't let it go. I just can't let it go." You can't be on both sides. You got to pick a side. You either gonna be on the side of voting rights or on the side of the filibuster. You either gonna be on the side of the people or on the side of Jim Crow filibuster. You can't have it both ways, and that's the message we're gonna keep delivering to this president, to Chuck Schumer, to the rest of the Democratic caucus, and even to the House, which I'll cut it short here, but even to the House, who has the power to delay voting on that infrastructure bill until the Senate votes on voting rights. They have that power to use that leverage.
But Nancy Pelosi is using that power right now to not. Isn't she holding up one vote until she gets what she wants out of the Senate on another vote?
That's right.
And
right now she's
Go ahead.
So you're exactly right, Ben. She and other progressive Democrats are saying, look, until y'all vote on the budget piece of this deal, right, on the reconciliation, the 3.5 trillion, whatever the number winds up being, until y'all vote on that we're not going to vote on the infrastructure passage. So if they can use that leverage, they can simultaneously use the same leverage for voting rights. Until you act on H.R. 1, they named the H.R. 1 because supposedly it was their first priority, right? If it's their priority, they can say to the Senate, until you act on our priority, we're not going to act on your priority. They can use that leverage. The House has not been our enemy. They passed H.R. 1. Four members of the Black Caucus have been arrested with us out in these streets. I mentioned Congresswoman Beatty and Congressman Johnson, but also Sheila Jackson Lee from the great state of Texas, and also Al Green from the great state of Texas. They've been arrested with us at some of these protests. So the House hasn't necessarily been the problem, but we need them to use the leverage that they have to influence their colleagues over in the Senate.
That's it. I want to ask you, with these few minutes that we have left, about the two amendments that were passed overnight, not last night, but the night before. And David, help me. The one amendment was it a Tuberville? Who was the first? I know the second amendment was Josh Hawley and his 100,000 cops. We could talk about that, but there's another amendment that had. Help me out with that, David.
So yeah, the Senator Tuberville's amendment was earlier in the day on whatever day it was now, and
Tuesday, I believe.
That one basically looks to create a fund that would penalize localities that defund their police.
Yeah, Cliff, I feel like the police are flexing their muscles on us.
Right. I saw the coverage about that Tuberville amendment, which is actually kind of comical. He's not a bright man. He ain't the brightest bulb in the pack. Because basically what Cory Booker and the Democrats did, now keep in mind, it's a non-binding resolution, right? It's got actually no enforcement at all. It's basically them just saying we don't support defunding the police. And so, Cory Booker.
Let me. I don't mean to interrupt you, but let's talk about that, because a couple people reached out to me yesterday and said, don't be so upset because it is a non-binding agreement. But the symbolism in the temple of our empire, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was going to get to. That Cory Booker, in ridiculing Tuberville, and rightfully so, he gave this sarcastic speech where he pointed out, we relish this opportunity to be able to show that the lies y'all have been saying about defund the police are not true, and that we don't support it, that no members of the Senate are trying to. And while I appreciate the comedy of him pointing out how silly Tuberville is, the notion of using that level of sarcasm as if having a vote on defunding the police in the Senate is somehow not something to be taken seriously, right? As if there's no role to play, as if we don't have a George Floyd Act or more importantly, the other acts that we have that would even go further to deal with defunding the police and the issues of police violence that we face in this society, as if that's somehow something that would not be taken seriously on some other piece of legislation that is problematic. So you're exactly right. The symbolism of minimizing the issue is something that we need to be concerned about, even though this particular amendment itself doesn't have any force to it. It is an issue that we need Cory Booker and all of them to take seriously, because there's going to come a piece of legislation that we need them to vote on that will be sending the same message around defund.
Yeah, before we move past that, help at what point, because there's also the non-binding resolution from Josh Hawley, where Dick Durbin joined across the aisles and said, sure, we support 100,000 more cops being sent to our communities to keep America safe. At what point can this process of non-binding resolutions, which to me look like a threat to our community, at what point or can they ever go from being a non-binding resolution into something that actually has the force of law?
Yeah, I mean, we know that that point can come, right? That there's going to be actual not resolutions, but actual amendments or bills that are going to have a binding impact that they're going to have to pick a side on, right? So at some point, they're going to have to actually make it clear whether or not they support defunding police, whether they support reallocating resources, or whether they support, because really they don't have the decision over what those city budgets look like, but whether or not they're going to penalize cities that try to pursue this, or whether or not they're actually going to provide incentives, whether they're going to provide incentives to city that redo how they spend their pension money, right? Whether they're going to provide incentives for police, for cities that shift more money into health and mental health and all these other issues versus adding 100,000 police officers. So we're at that point where there needs to be some legislation where they something that has actual enforcement power, where they're going to have such votes. The Breathe Act is a perfect example of that, right? The George Floyd is a start, but the Breathe Act is even more important in this regard. And so we need them to have a serious discussion, not these non-binding things, and not playing defense on what the Republicans are trying to put in there.
That's right.
But we're at the point already where they need to be moving on this legislation that, again, our communities demanded that they move on. That's literally what we said to folks when we were trying to mobilize people for that Senate race in Georgia. That if we get this Senate, then we can get federal action on police violence. We're past the time for that to happen.
So I want people to really see in the visual and hear, the joke or how they want to make this funny from Cory Booker himself. Let's take a listen.
And that was such a good setup, Rebecca. That was beautiful.
Perfect. That was well done, Rebecca.
I love that. That was. I think Dwayne don't like you, Rebecca.
He doesn't. Clearly, we set this up in the chat as big and we're discussing and filibustering, and here we go.
I was going to stay off the mic, but there's like 6 different things that I got to worry about back here, and the Slack thread is not always the most pressing. So here's your clip. Ma'am.
I call on my colleagues to support our law enforcement by voting yes for this amendment. Opposing my amendment is a vote in support of defunding the police and against the men and women in blue.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Madam President.
Senator from New Jersey.
I am so excited. This is perhaps the highlight of this long and painful and torturous night. This is a gift. If it wasn't complete abdication of Senate procedures and esteem, I would walk over there and hug my colleague from Alabama. And I will tell you right now, thank God, because there's some people who have said that they're members of this deliberative body that want to defund the police, to my horror. And now this senator has given us the gift that finally, once and for all, we can put to bed this scurrilous accusation that somebody in this great esteemed body would want to defund the police. So let all of us, 100 people, not walk, but sashay down there and vote for this amendment and put to rest
sashay
the lies, and I am sure I will see no political ads attacking anybody here over defund the police. And I would ask unanimous consent to add something else to this obvious bill. Can we add also that every senator here wants to defund the police, believes in God, country, and apple pie? Thank you.
Watching it again, I understand, see what he was doing.
No, when you gotta do a comeback and stuff, like when you feel like, you know, somebody read you and you gotta read them back. We can't have Cory Booker do it because you see, it's not delivering. It didn't do what needed to be done. It's like, you know,
the delivery makes me want to come after it. Like, but I feel what he was saying.
Tap him on the shoulder and tell him to gather his things and come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Yeah, it gave me very much. When I saw it, I'm like, is that Keegan, Mike, and Key up there? I'm like, wait a minute, that's not him.
Give that. I'm like,
oh wait,
he gives that.
I'm thinking that Pill was gonna come out. Key and Pill was gonna come out. I'm like, oh, they doing a skit. Oh wait, no,
they doing a skit.
Okay,
he said apple pie.
He said where's
apple pie?
Here's the part, Cliff.
He worked in.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Because I want to say the part that trips me up on this is that he points out what he knows is going to happen. Republicans are still going, no matter how much Democrats say we don't want to defund the police, Republicans are going to still run ads against them about that, no matter if nobody ever said it. They think there's a war on Christmas and they run ads about that. So why do Democrats think that there's any way possible for them to find some type of consensus with them that won't cause the backlash of the Republican Party?
Right. Yeah, you know, if he wanted to be a little bit more gangster with it, I would have liked to have seen him put in there, you know what, why don't we add that, you know, while we're saying this, that, you know, we also condemn the January 6th terrorists that beat up police officers. Put that amendment in there and now force them to have to vote on that. Right. And then see what they would do with that situation, because then they'd be in a situation like, ooh, well, if I vote on this, I'm going to get primaried because there's going to be some conservatives are going to come after me for criticizing the Proud Boys and criticize the white supremacists that did the January 6th attack. And so he could have gone further than just, you know, making a joke out of him. He could have actually put them in a difficult position to make their votes be a matter of record that could be used against them. So, you know, there are a couple of things that he could have done. You know, I give him a couple of style points just because anytime you can get scurrilous and sachet in the same sentence.
In the same sentence, you know, he did a good job with that.
Yeah, I got to give you a little something. But you're right. The rest of the delivery, and more importantly, the very serious point that I think he muddied, you know, with this sarcastic attack. Again, defund is not something that should be viewed or even entertained as being scurrilous. The thought that some members of the Senate would vote to support defunding to some degree is not something that should be taken as a joke. That is a very serious matter that, again, we're going to need them to actually vote on at some point during this session.
And it's, you know what, you know, I ain't trying to, you know, drag Cory Booker. I'm not, because he tried to do something that other people can do and get away with, because it won't come off as, like he said, muddying the waters, taking defund the police as something that is a joke. Some people can go that route and, you know, make a joke, but be serious and we can get it. We can capture it. It just wasn't for Cory. This was not in his cards to be this person. Even when he started, they started to clap because they thought that he was really talking some bipartisan stuff.
That's right.
So they were like, okay, brother, I'm right here with you. And then he, you know, it just started to get strange. So he needs to have his PR people definitely connect with him on a few things.
And their strategy above all else, they got to connect on.
It has to be, because we have to not get the message wrong, right?
That's right.
If somebody's going to do the delivery, you got to be genuine in it. Don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself. Because, Cory, there are points that you can make. There are points that you've missed in this moment. I know right now going viral on the floor is a thing, but, you know, this ain't it. Like, start keeping the work to where it's at for you, and do what you can do for you. Ain't trying. It ain't. because you done went viral for something wrong, sir. You didn't do it.
Yeah, it didn't come off the way. And it's Cliff. I know you got to go, man, because you about to hit this protest. But I just want you to get the last word before you get out of here, because it's so violent. What you said, they could use these non-binding resolutions to send messages to Republicans, right? But they're allowing these non-binding resolutions to be sent messages to the black community, which is we ain't defunding the police. Matter of fact, we'll send more police if y'all don't leave us alone. Cliff, get the last word.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're exactly right. Democrats have got to learn how to use power in a way that is similar to, but in opposition to, the way that the Republicans, and in particular Mitch McConnell is shameful in the way that he uses his power, and he uses it for the bad, right? He uses it unrighteously, and we've got to be able to use our power in a similar manner, just as shameless, but shameless for the good. You know, Dr. King said, you know, power at its best was love implementing the demands of justice. You've got to be willing to use power to implement the demands of justice. You can't be shy about how you do it. Democrats aren't quite there yet, but we got to get them there because we need them to get there.
Why you laugh? We got to get them there.
We got to, because we down to voting, right? We don't even know if we're going to be able to vote in this country simply because of how hard Republicans are working against us. You know,
That's right.
Brother
what
Cliff
they say,
Albright.
Ben, they say the devil works hard, but God works harder, or I work harder. You know, I don't know. But
I don't know. The devil works hard, but Republicans work harder is the way I would say it.
No, but in this particular place, what Cliff and his crew is doing.
I gotta let Cliff go, Rebecca.
The devil works hard, but Cliff and the crew works much harder, because when they thought they were trying to give up last year on them streets fighting for voters' rights during the panoramic, it has crossed over into 2021, and we're mid-year, honey. So it's not stopping. He's going to be on the steps of Washington with people that represent legacy. What's up? You know, we working harder, and that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see.
Rebecca, take us to break.
All right, listen, Cliff, thank you so much. Before you get out of here, let everybody know how they can get up with you.
Hey, please follow us, Black Voters Matter. That's on Facebook, Twitter, IG, Black Voters MTR, Black Voters MTR. And you can follow me on Twitter, Cliff_Notes. That's Cliff Notes, Cliff_Notes on Twitter. Check me out. Sometimes I got some good stuff to say.
You got some great things to say. Thank you so much for joining us here on Like It or Not. We're going to take it to break, and we'll be back with more of me talking my talk. Bubba, take us to break.
Crazy. Yeah. Thanks so much, Cliff, again for joining us, sir, man. Absolutely amazing having you on the show. Please make sure that you come back, and definitely can't wait to see some footage, that beautiful beam footage of everything that y'all are doing today. So please make sure that you get that to us, share that with us, and can't wait to see it, y'all. Man, y'all stay tuned. We got some more.
Looking fresh always. Ladies trying to cop my style. No way. Gonna keep riding like it's my damn day. I'ma do it my way. I got the swag. I got the bills.
Get y'all with a little throwback. This is the beginning. The beginning.
And look to kill.
Pull up to the crib and it's fresh always. Bitches trying to steal my shit, no way. Holding down the floor, cause I'm here to say ain't no one mess with me, oh bitch, they ain't getting paid. I got that swag, I got the bills, I got the thoughts online, and look to kill. I got the money, I got the ice on me, I got that good, come get this honey, I got the money, I got the ice on me, I got that good, come get this honey, yeah, come get this honey, yeah, come get it.
Gilbert, what's going on, Gilbert? Seven Sweetheart.
Yeah. Come get it. Better know. I said let them know that we won't go, nah. No, we ain't going home. We got that swag. We got the bills. We got the thoughts online.
and look secure.
That might help.
Better let 'em know. I said let 'em know that we won't go, nah. No, we ain't
Marquez,
going
don't get me started.
We got that swag.
Because I was already about to do a voiceover from Cory Booker. That whole clip itself, I'm just like, I do a lot with that.
You only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's driving. Tasting with the fade, not the air, my hands rocking. When I link with ball point, you know it's knocking. I'm not the same. Thinking money made me change, nothing else to blame. Bougie stuck up in my way, singing Gucci gang.
There we go, had to plug back in.
Gucci gang, think I'm Gucci Mane. I'm just playing in the cut, I got my Vans on. I'm not selfish, I get on and put my mans on. Always greedy since the day I got my first safe. 5'7", but I'm 6'8" when I stand on the money pals, money pals, money pals. Need a money counter, I broke my thumb from dumbing down. Wifey on my line, she told me to dumb it down. Mama on my line, asking how I'm dumbing now. I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'.
If you're American when you go to in the bathroom and American when you come out, what are you in the bathroom?
When I link with
European.
I'm so unashamed, throw it to my veins. Like my 2K green or blue, I'm not into games. Please, I can change. We throw out what you got on your whole crew late. Every time I drop it, I can make the screw face. I can't stand to be around people when it's too late. I can't stand to do some business if you're too late. I beat the defeated. I hate y'all. Mistreated. I hate y'all so much. On top, Modine. No rock star.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the screen. Rebecca and Ben. And y'all, this is Knocking by NHDB Kid. I think it was. Yeah, one of those people.
Who is that?
Why?
Who is this?
She said, "Who's this on our screen?"
As many times as you've seen David, you don't recognize David down there in that picture?
She's saying, "Why is he on the screen?" That's what she said.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. Why is David on the screen?
Dang. See, David.
Because he was on the screen with me the whole. He was on the screen.
Sorry, David. I was just confused. I ain't trying to knock you, my brother, but you didn't like how you pop up like this. And this is what David looks like. Keep him on the screen. I want to dissect him.
Oh my God.
Oh, sorry, David. I'm sorry, David. I didn't mean for this to happen.
This is about what I looked like about 5 years ago. But
this is 5 years ago?
Yes, 5 years ago.
So you was rocking like remember in if you ever watched the Brandy Cinderella, the only Cinderella that I recognize, the Brandy Cinderella, the guy that's the white man, the uncle or whatever, Christopher Roop, that guy that's singing that part, you look like him. Right here.
I don't know.
You look like him.
I've never seen the Cinderella movie.
I don't know what the reference is. Is this about the goatee?
No, it's not the goatee, but he had one. But he was rocking like white folks love to rock this, right? There's nothing at the top, and they just rock it like from here on. And I know you a young man. That was if you said this was 5 years ago, David, it was time for you to let it go. But you didn't know that at the time.
Back then.
Know that at the time.
He looked like a lighter skinned version of the dude from Half Baked.
Y'all
same dude
I
that
need
played,
David to be in good spirits. David's the only producer we got left.
But now David is rocking what you guys are all rocking, and that's a baldy. And I know he got like facial hair too, right? So, yeah.
I mean, I guess if you want to, David, show the people the updated version of you. Rebecca,
I'm looking worse than you right now, Ben. So no.
Okay, so then no, let's not do that because I look pretty bad. I look bad.
So Friday when you pop up again, show the people what you're looking like now, because I seen you, so I know that. So I was confused. This is an older man on the screen, but that was 5 years ago, and you probably were going through a lot, and life ages you.
Jesus Christ, Rebecca!
But he doesn't look like that now. He doesn't. I've seen him. So
he don't look like that now, though.
No, he doesn't. He just looks. That did not look like David.
He does.
To me.
You do look younger now. When you shave your hair off and you grow the beard, you look younger.
That didn't look like David to me. That's why. That's why.
Right now, David, you got the same big head that me and B. Oh, damn, all of us have, huh?
All of us got big heads.
All three of you guys have that, and me too. If I was bald, which I kind of am now, but if I was bald, Yeah, we all bald headed. It's okay. It's okay.
Rebecca,
you not bald headed.
Anyway,
Rebecca, you just do bald headed.
Wait, say that again, James.
Now, y'all should see it. I'll come on the show with my natural hair to show you how short I've cut it. I'm very sad about it, but it's cool.
You cut it. You cut it down.
I had to cut because remember I've been natural for 5-6 years, and I had to cut it because I went straight. I got the creamy crack because I was tired of breaking my arm, blow drying my hair, or like putting it in the big puff and things like that. I was like, well, let me just straighten it. And you guys know, like, I have a lot of hair, so it was nice. But then I was like, I miss my big puff and stuff like that. So I grew my hair out to a point where I can just cut off the straight part. And when I saw my hair on the floor, I was so sad. But look, I got a little bob, a little curly bob.
Oh, okay.
So
because I was just about to ask you if it was giving Viola Davis without the wig or what. So that explains. Okay, good.
Y'all know Viola Davis is 56 years old today,
and she looked damn good.
She looked like she's 45 at the most.
She looks damn. She got the nut but city limits arms. Yeah, nut. But you know them arms from Tina Turner. That is exactly what Viola has. She got them strong arms. I love
and speaking of Tina Turner, god dang on Angela Bassett, she just don't age at all. I'm just like, I think she's like 60, 70. Just look like she's about 45.
She's like 150 and looking like she's 25.
Right. But did you guys hear her diet? It's very, very strict, right? So what she does,
never mind.
Yeah. She does nothing. Literally, she does nothing. She works out. She said, I don't do this. Have a cheat day, but my cheat day consists of nothing. This. I'm like, girl.
Yeah, I don't want the six pack that much.
And speaking of which, too, she just signed a deal on 911. It's a show that comes on Fox.
And she's getting paid the most.
$500,000 per episode. The highest paid actor or actress ever. Come on, Angela. Let's get it.
How to get away with murder. You better run up the scoreboard on these people, Angela.
But Angela's
not Angela, but Viola.
I was going to say, Viola is how to get away with murder.
But they both black women and they look like they 100 years younger than they are. They are amazing.
Because God is good and money will definitely keep you young. Money. David.
Y'all see what white supremacy do? Yeah, pull up Kellyanne Conway and see what white supremacy will do to your skin. Go ahead, Rebecca.
David, you're on the screen. David, since you're on the screen now, as a white man that's aging backwards, I want you to speak. I just want you to talk. Because I know we were writing you in, but you know we love you. So what's going on with you?
I'm feeling the melanin deficiency love right now.
And David, you're not Puerto Rican or anything, or you're not Italian, right?
No, I'm like a European mutt.
Oh, you can look
European mutt.
You can say that. Okay. So
you could pass for being like one of them New York Puerto Ricans, though.
Yeah, just like Puerto Rican going for it.
New York, Puerto Rican, or Italian.
Listen,
I've gotten Puerto Rican, I've gotten Italian.
Yeah. What's that lady name that's transracial? If Rachel Dolezal, if she could be black, brother, you could be whatever you need to be.
No, he cannot. He can only be who he is.
Listen, go get a shot of melanin. Get one drop of melanin in you. We'll be
nah. David's rolling with us, so he's not black by association. He's a white man that knows how to respect black people, and we are black people that know how to respect good white folks. Because I don't play with white people.
I co-sign.
Hey. Yo, real quick, y'all.
You all do know I have people watching. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, let me read a super chat real quick because I want to send some love to this person. Demon Yama Mama says, I just wanted to tell you guys I love you. Please tell someone you love them today. You don't know how much they may need to hear it. Sorry, I'm just feeling really defeated today, trying to stay hopeful, but it's hard. Demon Yama Mama, don't feel like that. We love you too. Just know that we're here for you if we need anything, y'all. So please in the chat room, y'all show some love to Demon Yama Mama. Please show some love.
Love.
Demon Mama.
Them and then and anybody else. Like that's the standing rule. That's a house rules.
That's exactly what we talk about every day after the show. You don't know if you are going through somebody some love, but Demon Mama specifically to you. we want to send you all the love and encouragement that you need. Some days we can feel defeated. This whole week, every single morning, as y'all can see, my wig was shifty. I was sleeping past the clock. I'm tired every day. I want to quit my job every day. Defeat comes in many different forms. And I don't want you to feel down, but sometimes you got to be in your feelings and recognize it and acknowledge it. And that's what you're doing. And you're going to get through this. I know that sounds, what do they say, that cliche when we tell that to people, but we're going to send you love and we're going to continue to uplift you. Days like this come and they go. Okay. Yeah. So next week we'll talk again. We'll circle back. Okay. Demon Llama Mama. And I hope on Thursday it's a brand new vibe for you. Okay. And I hope it's all good things. All good things.
Nights like this.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, we do have 2 joy clips for you guys.
Okay.
Hopefully we can do some uplifting. Dwayne, play them in any order.
David was telling Ben to shut up.
Darius ain't even tell me that he was still messing with the girl. Mind you, he told me last
we got to
last
set this
week
up.
that
Pause
he
it.
was
Pause
done
it.
with
Pause it.
her.
Pause it.
Peep this,
Because
though.
I need the audience to
there
know.
was a slim chance he wasn't going to be done with her. Because now remember.
We got to set it up because otherwise people ain't gonna know what's going on. This is from TikTok. It is hilarious. This is the caption. If a black person say any of these statements in the middle of a story, it's about to be good. It's about to get good. And watch, my man ain't saying nothing, but it's a hell of a good story. Run it from the top.
But also,
Go ahead,
does he run through it in full story? Like he goes from line to line in the
line to line. And he's gonna go line to line, and he don't say nothing, but he proving the point. Let's run it.
All right.
But check this out. Darius ain't even tell me that he was still messing with the girl. Mind you, he told me last week that he was done with her. Peep this, though. I knew there was a slim chance he wasn't going to be done with her. Because now, remember, back then he was like, oh, man, I really rock with the girl. I never let her go. Come to find out, he never let her go. See, now that's the stuff I really don't like. Like, just be honest with me. You know what I'm saying? So this bitch got the nerve to tell me, man, you don't know. The thing is, I do know. Little did I know is that he was really in love and he proposed to her. How about this nigga got the nerve to tell me I only did it because her family said I needed to? Had the audacity to talk about he loved her and stuff. But quiet as it kept, he tried to keep it under wraps. But let me motherfucker tell you, he can't keep nothing under wraps. Meanwhile, the whole time he got 2 girlfriends and now they beefing. I mean, but look though, that's what he want to do. I'm just like, don't lie to me, you know what I'm saying? So boom, he in a love triangle. Man, listen.
He said a lot. What you talking about, Ben? That was a full story.
But it
was
a full story.
That story developed.
I'm just saying, like, it wasn't a real story. He did it to prove the point. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and he did such a good job. I felt like I was captivated, almost like a Twitter thread, kind of like Zola.
I want to know what happened.
Yes,
I need to know what happened.
Yes.
What's the next one, Dwayne?
When you talking to a black woman specifically, and she start to say shit like, mind you, or this bitch had the nerve.
She about to get into some wild shit.
When I'm talking to a woman and she called me a bitch by accident, she bitch.
Because bitch. Let me tell you. And I'm like,
So
now, Rebecca,
you've
done that to me before.
So yes, I have, and then be like, okay, I know, I've been talking to you all the time, but
you're not gonna call. You ain't gonna say, girl.
Let me know. I know I've been talking to you all the time, but Rebecca, I'm a man, so I'll be like,
it's okay. Rebecca do it to me, and be like, child, it's okay. Everybody do it, and I'm like, it's okay, girl. That means the story good. It's okay. Go ahead. It's all right, girl.
Like bitch, and
that means it's a good story.
Girl. That's what I'm like, yo, but that's when you know I love you, and I'm really trying to get this, like, I gotta share this story with you. I ain't got no friends nowadays, and the only person I talk to all the time on the phone is my girlfriend Edina. So all day we be like, bitch, girl. Yeah, and like,
child is the one.
No, but for women, and when we're talking to, like, when I talk to any guy that I could be dating, or whatever, I always be like, if I get really comfortable, and I'm like, so let me tell you. You ain't even gonna believe. But the dudes that I be messing with, they just as messy. Let me tell you.
Hey, true story.
Happened?
Men are gossipy.
Women is.
We gossip.
Oh my gosh, men are worse than women are. Jesus,
we gossip so bad.
I I wish we had tomorrow. I'm going to drop this video so we can do like a part 2 to this conversation at the end of our show. Because let me tell you, there's a video going around. I think it's on TikTok or whatever. So it's women who are with their partners, and they'll take their phone and they'll just have their earbuds in their ear, their AirPods, and they're not really on the phone. So they'd be like, while they're with their partner, they'll be like, the phone rings. Oh, I saw that. Girl, what happened? Bitch, what? Yeah, and then what? And then the boyfriend they'll have, but they'll be recording the man, and then the man looking like, what happened? Tell me. Put it on speaker. Put it on speaker. Let me hear. One guy went and got the other AirPod. So he was like, it's hard. Turn it on. And like put her on speaker. Like, and they ready to find out what's going on. Because dudes is just messy.
Well,
they
no,
want to know.
hold on. In our defense, sometimes y'all be telling us the whole story anyway. So it's like watching it. It's like we into the soap opera. So we invested now.
Okay.
So now when we hear something new is coming up, it's like you can't just leave me hanging. That's like
right. So what happened?
Well, in the video that she's talking about,
I need my man to be just as messy as like with me. Only with me though. You can't be out there doing that. But with me, you got to know like, babe, what happened with Chris and them? And then really? Like, I need you to be just as messy when we're watching TV shows. Yes.
Girl without an L. Who said that? Somebody said that in the chat room. You got to say girl without the L.
Girl. That's how it sounds. Girl. And it's G-R-A. Girl.
And then, you know, when you get the phone call, and the first thing they say on the phone call is, bitch. Oh, what didn't happen outside? I was tea.
But there's some dudes that don't like to be called, but I mess up, you know, and be like, bitch, well, they're okay if I be like, girl, so listen. And they just be ready to know, like, and then what she said. And then he said, what? Really? And then I'm like, now you really invested.
You really into it.
I'll
be telling good stories.
Y'all be giving us commercials the whole time. And then when it's time for the show to come on, you be like, nah, I ain't trying. No, you gonna tell me now. You done got me all excited.
That's what they do. Be like, I don't really want to talk about it, but listen, let me tell you, girl.
Yeah, me.
Right.
I'll be like, girl. I won't tell nobody because this is not really my business to tell. But so let me tell you how. You know, I told you about my friend, right? I know you don't know my friend, but you remember I told you about, and they know the name. They know these issues. They know.
You talking about the story with Shaniqua and them,
Yes, they know exactly who it is. Never met the person, but want to know.
Oh my
I
God!
have a complaint.
Mara, it's this. You right. It's just like watching shows that we don't like, because we would have never watched them if it was by ourselves. But we watch stuff to appease y'all and to be spending time. It's like we start. Then we start watching, and it's like, okay, we got to find out what happened next week.
And I love that. I love that because that means that you're investing and you're trying to look. I call that quality time.
Where is that video, Rebecca? Because I saw that.
It's a part of quality time.
It is. It is. I gossip with my wife because she got. I mean, well, I ain't gonna say she gossips.
Let David talk.
David can get in a second. I've been trying to get in. Goddamn it, on my own channel.
See, they told you got that. You got that. I can't get a word in picture.
This is what I get for trying to go bring my friends along with me. I can't even talk about damn channel. I can't even get video no more.
Word. If he been trying to.
I'm trying to tell y'all, David, what do you want to say? It better be good, man. All eyes on you. All eyes on you. It better be funny.
Well, shout out to Jay Green on Twitch, because I wouldn't have made this connection. But Rebecca, I don't mind roasting. You're trying to compare me to Jason Alexander.
Oh no, she didn't. No, she did not.
You're trying
now I got a problem too, David.
George Costanza on Seinfeld. Really? That's who you're comparing?
Yes, in this photo. Yes.
That is so wrong.
But why?
That is dead ass wrong.
But oh my God.
I love him.
Oh my God.
You double dip the sauce. Come on, man.
It's David
You
double dip the sauce,
you see,
Rebecca.
David, you ran it back. Ain't nobody was trying to come at you again, but you done ran it back. Okay?
He had to rewind it.
I love you so much, and I do believe that you look like that man. He's a good actor.
I had to. I was like, wait a second. This has to be noted.
Yeah, he had to bring it back. That was eating at him inside.
That was evil, Rebecca. That was cold-blooded. That was cold-blooded.
Why? Find the picture. Okay, find the picture of Jason Alexander, and
everybody know what George Costanza from Seinfeld looks like.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now in Seinfeld, yeah, but he looks more like the guy in. It's the same guy, but he looks more like the character he plays in Cinderella.
I have to look that one up. I just think of Costanza, and that's bad enough.
That is him. That's the guy in Seinfeld too.
Hey y'all, I'll be back in Atlanta in about 2 or 3 hours. Y'all, we got to link up. What y'all doing today?
Definitely, Ben. I'm working, and I wish I wasn't. So after this, I got to get to work. So I'm working until late. I'm doing some overtime. But at the end of the day, Ben, one of these days we can definitely go out. You know what I want? I really want to take you guys to a Haitian restaurant, and you and Bubba to really see. Yeah, there's a Haitian restaurant that opens until like midnight, and one of these days we can definitely go there, have a drink. I'll put you guys on some barbecue, take some shots, some Haitian rum shots, and then get you guys the food so you guys can really taste real flavor, because none of these other
I need some brown stew
like us.
I need some of that brown stew.
David,
yes. I got you.
You see how they be making all this stuff
what is the soup?
All these link ups and stuff, and just be leaving us out. You see,
because you guys don't
y'all need
here.
to fly y'all ass down here to Georgia.
No,
man.
you don't need to fly nowhere right now.
Plane.
Y'all need to drive y'all ass down to Florida. Come on. I mean,
Georgia. Drive. Get in the car.
You said you're in Virginia. Is that where you at?
I'm in Maryland.
Oh, who said? I said Virginia. Are you from there? Anyways, Maryland sounds really far. There's just one day we may come and visit you, Georgia, and Dr. Carl Mack. We may do a tour. Oh yeah, you too, David.
Bring some of that soup de jour. What is it? What is that Haitian soup you gave me one time, Rebecca?
Soup jumeau. Soup jumeau is our every first of the year that we drink. They still serve it a little bit throughout the year, more so in the fall. But we drink at the first of the year because that was the soup that our colonizers told us that we couldn't drink, and that's the French. And we took it and added seasoning to it, and added the meat that they didn't want, like the parts of the meat that they didn't like. And they gave it to us. We added that to it. We added a lot of different vegetables, and we made soup jumeau amazing. And that's because we got our freedom. We took that same soup that they told us that we couldn't drink. We were too poor. We were too nasty. We were inferior. And we put épices. Épices is the Haitian seasoning. We put épices inside of it, and that made them French folks mad. That's why when you eat French food, it's kind of bland sometimes. They give you about this much in food, and it don't even be all that. Okay, so come on to the Haitian side. Go to Haitian restaurants near you if you do have that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So yes, when we get together, maybe this weekend, possibly, I don't know, we can definitely have some of that and some Haitian food. And if you guys are really scared, you guys can kind of come on over to my place. I'll go get the Haitian food, and you guys can come on over to my place where it's just
we got to know. We'll talk offline because we're going to create these bubbles where we can hang out together because we all, we able to trust each other because we about to go on lockdown again, and I can't take another year in isolation.
Are we going back in lockdown, Benjamin Dixon?
I think so. And if you look at,
I don't think we are. I don't think we are, though, because if you see how hard these Republicans are fighting, I told you that they're fighting like the devil. Now, God is somewhere in the background ready to, give them the hand. But right now, they are fighting.
Light them up.
Light him up. But DeSantis is doing his thing. We see how Greg Abbott is doing his thing.
Did you say Death Santas? Is that what you said?
Well, I have a list, so sometimes I probably did.
It did sound like Death Santas.
But
wow,
yeah,
that's what he is.
That's a good pun, and pun intended. Now, he literally is out there trying to stop people from to mandating the mask. And the schools, the Texas and Florida, the schools have decided to go against what they said and said, try us. Literally, DeSantis said, we're going to try to put a rule in to make sure that you guys don't get paid. You guys being school employees don't get paid if you mandate the people wearing masks, if you put that into place. And they were like, we don't give a damn. We got kids, okay? Which I think is so stupid. Before we get out of here, I know, here I go talking. You need to be quiet, Dwayne.
And that's when she comes. I know you were. Listen,
I was going to let you cook.
We're going to let you ride. But she got so much to say. We got to get her job to let her get here on time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just.
We got to work hard.
I'm gonna let you finish, Rebecca. But what I was doing while you was talking, I was watching all your hand movements and comparing them to the video that we watched yesterday, and I was looking out for all of them hand movements. So I could see exactly what's coming.
The storytelling hand movements that black people do. That was a great clip too, because it's true.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just like her hand movements in that viral video of her doing her praise dance. Go ahead, Rebecca.
It's true. It's true. No. Don't play with me. I said that a cease and desist. I will send that over from my lawyers. My lawyers being Rebecca Azor and Associates. It will be definitely coming to an email.
I got good business insurance that'll pay out any lawsuits that I run across.
Oh man.
Anywho, but
y'all go ahead and set that up and get some extra money. Go ahead, continue.
Anywho, like I was saying, all of these states, though, you have Florida, you have Texas, you got everybody else who's following suit. And remember, these are the states that we named yesterday. These are the leaders that we named yesterday. They are literally following suit. In every damn article that comes out, what do we see? We see all they bald-headed names, right? We see them at the forefront of this, saying that they do not want to mandate people to wear masks. They do not want to put that in place because it's not the American way. People's children, I was just talking to my best friend about this. Your child going to school in a place where they're not mandating masks, where they're not putting on masks, a kid. Some kids are not at the age to even get vaccinated, okay? So you have to watch your kids suffer like an adult may suffer, right? But you got to watch them suffer, putting on masks near them. Some kids cannot be without their parent, right? Taking care of them, being near them. So parents now are putting themselves on the line. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the ripple effect, right? Your kid go to school. Your kid gets COVID-19, possibly a Delta variant, the iota, or whatever other variant is out there, right? Comes home, can't be without you. You have to be near them to take care of them because they're probably 5 or 6, can't take care of themselves, right? Can't shower themselves, can't make food for themselves, right? So you got to be near them. But they got you now coming into the job. Right? Now your job has required you to come in, but you got to stay home and take care of your kid. Now you got somebody watching your kid, right? A family member watching your kid who's putting their life at stake, right? But you go into your job. They're telling you if you don't come in, you're going to be fired. They don't care about your situation, but now you're putting the people in the job space at risk. That could be 500 to more than 500 people. That could be 10 people. But now they're going home to their family members and friends and doing what? Possibly giving it to them as well. We're talking about this is a ripple effect. It doesn't only affect one person. It affects everybody.
That's right.
Everyone.
That's right.
Everyone. So this is why
Rebecca,
I say,
go ahead.
Go ahead, man. I'm done.
No, I was gonna say you spitting the truth. I mean, because that's the core
for
of
real.
it. They don't care about their children, and I don't understand how. I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense, except for the fact that some of these people never cared about their children. They really just cared about their politics, their money, and their power.
Yeah. And
they care about themselves. They don't care about their kids. They just care about themselves, and if they're able to go do what the hell they want to do, because that makes no sense at all. Like, you just sending your child back into literally an incubator to pass all this stuff around. Then you go bring your kids home. You might be good, but then forget about
the
that.
Other kids in the house.
Kid come back, they infect you, the parents. Your ass go out, and now they're infecting everybody else. When you go to work, you go to the grocery store, you go to everything. That's not fair.
That's right. That's right.
And for me, it's about these kids that can't get vaccinated. They got the same COVID that you had or another older person that you know had. And we watch them people can't die, like literally dying in their homes, dying in the hospital, suffering, right? And then we got to watch our babies. Because of this damn world. We got to watch our babies suffer without being able to, know that they're vaccinated or got something that can help them in this particular moment. Their little bodies just have to fight it. And all because somebody wanted to be stupid and go around this kid, or all because somebody decided, and I'm talking about employers maybe, decided that this parent had to go back to work, even though they got to be around their kids later. This is the issue that I have with America in this present moment. Let me stay home. I don't want to go back to work. I don't want to go, not because I don't want to work, but that's my situation. I don't want to work for them. But that's not everyone's situation. Not because you don't want to work, but because you are trying to save your family, friends, and yourself. And that's all I got to say about that. Y'all, we are at the end of the show. I have to go and log in a few. That means take out this makeup, pull out this ponytail, and put on some sweats. I love you guys so much. It is Thursday. I hope that you enjoy every part of your day. And for anyone who's feeling down today. Shouts out to Demon Llama Mama. I love you, girl. And everybody on the show loves you. And we hope that you make it through this day. And hopefully tomorrow is a much better day for you. And if not tomorrow, then maybe in the next few hours. This day isn't over. It's still early. I love you guys. And I hope that you have a great day. Baba, take it away. Ben, you have something to say?
Not on my own channel. No, I don't. But I'll see y'all. I'm gonna hit y'all up afterwards because we ain't gonna go nowhere for real because the Delta variant. But we all should link up somewhere. All right. That's all I got. Hey, appreciate y'all. Love all y'all. Take care.
Love y'all. Mean it, man. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
I could really use a change of
Roadrunner, shout out, Roadrunner.
Everybody smoking all the greenery. Yeah, close the match that they were handed down to me, but I'm still fly. I'm still fly. I'm still fly. I'm still fly. Let's go. It could all be worse. I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Rules to make the man, but that poison's gonna chew you from the inside out. So right now, say it with your chest now. Say it with your chest now.
All right, y'all. That is gonna wrap it up for us today. And we'll let the next verse. Love y'all, mean it, and we'll see y'all in the morning. Deuces.
It's my time to ride.
See y'all tomorrow.
I'm young, I'm free. Can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time. It's my time. It's my time to ride it out.
What'd you say?
Cheers to all the haters, cause you proved to me that rising to the top was my destiny. You can see whatever from behind me, but I'm still fly. I'm still fly, I know.
Hey, Rebecca heard it too.
I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse. I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Supposed to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you from the inside out. It's time to say it with your chest now. Say it with your chest now.